and we don't need to wait for CSVLR to be issued, which makes us, which gives us a real advantage. Then the energy efficiency, I can proudly say that our configuration is the most efficient system that's ever been built. The best proof point maybe for this is the Mars helicopter developed by NASA that was sent to Mars to detect the surface there, called Ingenuity, and it shares the same configuration like a coaxial rotor system with a tilting head mechanism. In order to be able to unlock the potential of 3D mobility on a broad scale, it is important to have a different air traffic management system. An air traffic management system that allows the broad, safe, scalable, and highly automated implementation of low altitude by having the safety standards of an air traffic control or air traffic management system, and as well the possibility for a broad implementation like we only see in the teams. Quite aware that we are an OEM, but there is an entire ecosystem that is required from, as mentioned, the traffic management, the physical infrastructure, weather data, digital tooling, connectivity. And when I went to an authority 2 years ago here in the kingdom, they said, well, this is a wonderful product and we need it, but how do you envision to implement? And I said, well, we do have partner companies for the ecosystem that I just explained. And he looked at me and said, okay, but we need to work with 8 different entities here, right? And this was the starting point when I went back and talked to my colleague or colleagues, and we founded this International Sky Alliance for Automated Air Mobility, where we partnered up with all the necessary stakeholders from the ecosystem. It's an open system for different audience, for different solutions, because we believe in collaboration and not a competition, because we think the market is huge, it's going to be huge, and therefore we need to stick together in order to make it happen. And the last point is, of course, the public acceptance, and the public acceptance is achieved if it is available for everyone and not only for the super rich, and on the other hand, that creates solutions that serves them in many issues, being in rescue, in firefighting, in medical supply. So here you have a brief overview of our series of e-copter. On the right-hand side, the cargo version that can transport 200 kilograms in a size of a Euro pallet. Then a single and a twin seater. We always get the question, oh, don't you have a 4-seater, a 5-seater? And our answer to this is clearly not, because first of all, there is a sweet spot between the weight and the battery capacity and the range. And on the other hand, we are talking about individual mobility. So we try to substitute ground-based transportation like the Uber and Skype. When you order Uber or taxi, that for yourself or for your partner, and you don't have to wait till 3, 4, 5 other guests. We have as well a firefighting and medevac. I come to this later. The range of the aircraft for the pure battery version is 50 kilometers. The hybrid version can go up to 200 kilometers. And we have a speed of 130 kilometers per hour. And for all the derivatives, it's a payload of 200 kilograms. What are the different use cases? Of course, on a long perspective, starting with 2029, we focus on air taxi, on tourism applications, etc. But we start with cargo application. First of all, because of our certificate, which I come into in a minute. And on the other hand, because we believe that this is the much safer. So our approach is to start this year with a sandbox together with all the relevant stakeholders to really develop and try the operational topics. So to really see in terms of collision avoidance, bandwidth, connectivity, vertiport, and everything that you have discussed already yesterday. And then start with cargo applications over low and non-populated areas, like integrating it into logistic chains, flying into remote areas, doing port-to-shore operation, and so forth. And then second step, the personal variant and medical evacuation, rescue, firefighting, and other use cases. In terms of the certification roadmap, since the end of 2020, already we got the first approval in the specific category Sail 2. So we are now testing the second iteration of the one-to-one prototype. We had to fly a long time tether as we tested on Salzburg Airport, very close to the main road and very close to the private jets. So we had only 50 meters from this point, and therefore we need to fly tethered. Now we have the opportunity on a different airport where we can fly untethered and fly around, which is a big relief for us. And
I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to fix this screen. Sorry.
Yes, the next step, and we already got the okay from the air authorities to move now to Sail Level 4 and start with Sail Level 4. Sail Level 4 means in the specific category that we can already do commercial cargo transportation. And after we gained a lot of experience in this category, we then move on to the certified category, which allows us then to transport people over populated. For us, sustainability is a major point, and sustainability has different angles, and we want to tackle all three columns of sustainability, and this is economically, ecologically, and social. And when you look, for instance, on the weight of our aircraft, it is around 350 kilograms. If you compare it to a battery electric car that weighs average 2 tons, and the occupation of a car is usually 1.3 passenger all over Europe. So it makes sense to come up with a single and a twin-seater. And if you compare that, you can save a lot of resources, a lot of energy in the production as well as in the operation, and you can save a lot of resources in terms of infrastructure. And when we look at the pressure that is on the infrastructure, especially in India, so I have been recently to Delhi and as well end of last year to Delhi, and when I look at the traffic, there has to be a relief and a solution. Yeah, so here I would stop my presentation, and I would give some chances to ask questions. Otherwise, let me know I continue, but yeah, let me know. So everyone is on mute. I assume there are no questions. Let me know what topics you would like to dig deeper into. I show that I care about our technology. So it's a coaxial rotor system, it's counter-rotating, and by increasing of the end of and by the direction we are flying is freedom. The other advantage is that as the RPM is not so high as we have large autoplanes, the noise is less, the downpour is comparatively less to other aircraft. And if you look at all the different configurations that are out there, it's a very simple and easy to maintain concept. So what we really focus on is a simple concept that is easy to maintain, easy to set up, and easy to transport. So everything is thought through till we deliver it to the customer and as well the usage. So for instance, we can pack 8 of the e-copters in a 40-foot container or 4 of them in a 20-foot container. Here, what is the flight endurance of the e-copter? Good question. It's 50-kilometer range. There anywhere where the questions appear. All right. So if not, I'll just continue. I think what is as well unique is the less footprint. So we can land on almost every rooftop, everywhere as well. This is very good for disaster relief. So on a 10 by 10 meter field, we can store 14 of our helicopter, which is especially for logistic operations or for air taxi operations within a city, a very important prerequisite to do. And yeah, as well, what is important.
Finally, got it. Thank you for
flying
staying
automatically.
tuned.
Not autonomous. Automatically means like known in the aviation as an autopilot. Autonomous would mean that the e-copter or the vehicle itself can decide every millisecond where to go and what to do. No air authority wants that for a good reason. And I recently got the question, and it was very interesting as well. Why don't we use a swarm technology that like they use in China for routing the. So the answer is very simple because this is an orchestrated system. It is under UTM, which does not fulfill requirements in terms of safety for transport passengers on one hand. On the other hand, still accidents appear. And in case there is rerouting necessary, in case there's any interference, or for instance, emergency helicopter, then the whole system is not going to work. And therefore, this is not a system that will work and that we could apply. So I think the biggest challenge that we have to face in this industry is to come up with a new air traffic management system that allows broad implementation in a very safe manner. And how do we achieve that? It's more or less a paradigm shift from UTM and ATC, because one air traffic controller currently can only handle 10 planes simultaneously. So when we have the operation of thousands of vehicles in a confined airspace, then this is of course not possible. Then there are some ideas of dividing the airspace into so-called U spaces, U spaces. This as well has a challenge because when you imagine you have a big city and from a mall you want to start a small run with a medicine, you want to start cargo e-copter delivering a wash machine, and you want to have a large EVTOL with a pilot landing and bringing a passenger. So we have three different categories sharing at least the same starting and landing hub at the moment when they take off. And so we need to coordinate all. So the use-based model has some problems. And UTM, as we learned, is not. So we have to find a solution that ATC and ATM is applicable in an automated manner with the rule set of collision avoidance, ABS radar sensors, with predefined routes, with like tunnels in the sky where different vehicles can then operate, and with a system that foresees any disturbances and problems. For instance, if one vehicle is running out of energy, if an emergency helicopter is crossing, if an obstacle is appearing, they should not be there, etc. All right.
Well, Yvonne, thank you so much for the enlightenment and the interesting updates on Fly Now Aviation. By the way, if you see Gary Vermaak's name here on the moderator, I am not Gary. I'm Keith Sarich from the AAMI. I'm moderating today's event. And one thing that I'll say, though, we had a little bit of difficulty, Yvonne, in hearing you on the mic. And that could be technical. I'm not too sure if you're a little bit away from it or not. I know that thing can happen. Looks like your subtitles and your graphics were well. So what I'll do is from here on out, if anyone is having a little bit of difficulty hearing the speaker, I might just break in and just maybe recommend, if they can do that. But we were able to, of course, get the gist of what your presentation was. And it's exciting to see what's going on with Fly Now Aviation. Appreciate you taking the time to present today, and I'm sure we'll see more great things with Fly Now in the near future. So with that, I really appreciate your time for coming aboard and speaking today.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to, like I said, mention a couple things of that. We'll keep an eye on the audio. Of course, that could be something that could be on either end, but I know that we'd like to be able to hear as clear as we can the presentations on that. We've got a full day today. For right now, and I also like to mention again, for the country's presentations, about 5 minutes on those. The special presentations, the first and the last would be 20, and the middle presentations would be approximately 15 minutes. If we can keep to that schedule, that would be great. So right now we're going to move along. We have the representative from Malaysia, our first country presentation update, Afiq Azari, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, who will enlighten us on what's going on with Malaysia. So Afiq, if you're there, the court is all yours.
Nice. Check 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me, Keith?
Sir, you sound loud and clear. Yeah, give me another check one more time.
Right, all good over here, and hope the audience can listen up. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, going for selection. Right, so checking again the presentation, slides there, and I'm going to start now. So, good day, everyone. I'm Afiq Azari, a liaison representing Malaysia and a founder of a bootstrap R&D startup named Q Aero Technologies. So Malaysia is hitting significant milestones in the advanced air mobility landscape. As first, the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia has officially launched the AAM Sandbox as this regulatory testbed, allow operators to trial EVTOL drones and other AAM concepts safely while collecting data for future regulation. On the second, New Aeronautic Incorporated with University Technology of Malaysia strengthens industry and academic collaborations, ensuring we're building a local R&D and talent pipeline. And the third is on Aerodyne Group achieved Malaysia's first airport-based unmanned flight at Kota Baru Airport. It was done under Civil Authority of Malaysia supervision and demonstrates how unmanned system can operate safely in controlled airspace. Finally, HM Aerospace partnered with Volt Aero to bring hybrid electric aviation into the training ecosystem. Their order of Casio 330 aircraft marks a major step toward electric pilot training infrastructure and could scale up to 30 units in the coming years. So collectively, these milestones prove Malaysia is not only exploring AAM, but building the regulatory, academic, operational, and industrial layers required to scale it responsibly. To support this momentum, our legislative framework is adapting. Malaysia is rolling out our unmanned traffic management system by Q4 2025 to manage low-altitude traffic safely. The Civil Aviation Act and Malaysian Civil Aviation Regulations updates will also formalize emerging aircraft categories and operations. Oversights come from the National AM Steering Committee, supports and coordinated by Futurize, ensuring cross-ministry alignment. And this sandbox-driven policy integration provides flexibility while maintaining safety. Like other nations, we have faced some public sentiments and concern, as in privacy, noise, and safety. And our response focuses on education, public sandbox demonstration, and also clear airspace zoning. That is on the negative side. And turning to the positive, the overall sentiment is highly positive. Malaysia is ranked number one in Southeast Asia and 21st globally in the Drone Readiness Index, with readiness scores jumping from 31% to 60%. We project 100,000 jobs in advanced air mobility and UAS by 2030 and are seeing strong youth and community engagement through grassroots programs. The ecosystem demand is growing rapidly. Over 70% of Malaysia support drone adoption, and our STEM and TVET institutions are requesting drone curricula, and industries like agriculture, logistics, and disaster relief are integrating US solutions. Other than that, drone racing and hackathons are also mainstreaming the culture, showing that this isn't niche anymore. It is a growing movement. We are also investing heavily in infrastructure, like the Subang Airport regeneration plan will make it vertiport ready, and with an estimated Ringgit Malaysia 206.6 billion economic impact. Kuala Lumpur International Airport Aeropolis at Sepang, Selangor are being developed into logistics and MRO hubs supporting drone and EVTOL operation. AirAsia, meanwhile, has joined the Hard Aerospace Industry Advisory Board to guide the ES-30 Hybrid Electric Regional Aircraft Program, aligning Malaysia with Global Electric Aviation Initiative. At Q Aero Technologies, our focus is building the human infrastructure for advanced air mobility. Through the National Drone Initiative, NDI, we drive drone literacy in communities nationwide. Our mastering path provides structured training from fundamentals through commercials and advanced electric flight readiness. Hari Boleh Terbang immerse youth to hands-on drone operation and simulator-based training, building skills and resilience. The Drone Sadaka campaign extends access to underserved communities for the preparation of future generations. These programs are delivered by our Electric Flying Club, our mission-driven social enterprise, and by 2030, we aim to deliver a certified, employable, and mission-aligned advanced air mobility workforce. To conclude, advanced air mobility is not just about aircraft. It is about people, pathway, and policy. Malaysia is building a complete pipeline from youth outreach to training and certification. By 2030, we aim to deliver a global, competitive, advanced air mobility workforce. We invite all to co-create with us, to contribute expertise, funding, or even partnership that will amplify our shared impact. Together, we can build a future of flight and the generations who will sustain it. And to that, thank you again for your time and support. I look forward to connecting with you all. Thank you.
Wow. Just 1 second, Napadal. Want to just make just a quick comment before you're on. Great presentation, Afiq. I love it. And if you're still there, for the folks, what I like is the fact that in Malaysia, in one of your slides, the market, there's a 70% public interest in advanced air mobility. When you have that type of, that high number of a percentage of the public interested in this, things are going to happen. So I love the presentation, spot on, great audio. Appreciate all your input, and I'm sure we'll see more of you. And if you're on LinkedIn, folks, certainly connect with him. And I'll say one more thing before I introduce the next guest speaker. The biggest challenge for me is not the audio and this and that. It is hoping that I pronounce the names of the presenters in some reasonably coherent fashion so I don't butcher them. So that's what I'm going to be doing. For the next person, I'm not going to butcher this name. So the next presentation we have is from the country of Thailand, and I'm going to introduce, here we're going to take it slow, Napadal Pringavanik. That's the best I
can do. You do it very well. You did very well. Nopadon is actually my name.
Right.
And first of all, good day, everyone. So let me bring up the slide just so that hopefully everything works. So give me one moment.
And your audio is good, sir.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much. So first of all, good day, everyone, and hello here from Thailand. And actually, it's my great pleasure to brief you about the progress of the advanced air mobility here in the country. My name is Nopadon Primunit. I'm the CEO of Bearcat AEL. We are a training and consulting company working quite closely to the civil aviation authorities, but also various stakeholders of Thai aviation. So as I mentioned at the last previous meeting, when we had the briefing in January, Thailand have published a new regulations on the streamlining the process of UAS approval, particularly those that weigh more than 25 kilograms. That's a big step because this is where we start going from the smaller drone and start engaging in the bigger aircraft coming on board. There are also a big event hosted by the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand on the Thailand Drone Symposium toward the end of November of last year, where during the event there's a demonstration trial of one of the EVTOL in the middle of Bangkok, and that have been proven quite successfully, and that raised a lot of public awareness and also public acceptance to the technologies. So what happened between January and now? There are a couple more things that is being developed, and also some of the infrastructure have been put in place. One of the more prominent one is with the CAT deploying a digital system to support a UAS registration. And this is what is allowed the every time you're going to register for a new UAS. Now we have the digital portal that can support it. And this system is also linked to the pilot examination result and also the license management for the drone pilot as well. It's also that we just work in coordination with the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, and Thailand have been privileged that we will be hosting the ICAO AAM Symposium in 2026 next year, and we look forward to welcome everyone to Bangkok during that big event. Also, another system and infrastructure that have been put in place is that CAT, the regulators, working with air navigation service provider Aerothai, along with the Department of Airport and the Airport of Thailand AOT, they are preparing a rollout of a more digitalized UAS flight authorization process that hopefully will speed up the approval of drone flying in Bangkok, in Krabi, and also in Khon Kaen, with actually the bigger airspace within Thailand. Beyond working within the countries, Thailand is also working with various international partners, and very recently, Thailand Digital Economy Promotion Agency, with actually and government innovation agency, are having a discussions with Anhui provincial government from China, and we are under the discussion on how we can work together in developing an ecosystem, looking at the low altitude economy. And this is where Thailand is looking forward to learn from international players and with their experience in order to support the growth of this sector within the country. We are also having some interest from the private sector internationally, and as you see here in the picture, Thailand have a few tourism destinations, and EVTOL and AAM can be one of the more environmental sustainable, but also a cool introduction of the new technologies at this destination. Koh Tao, the island that you see in the picture here, is one of the locations that are being seriously explored to looking at the feasibility, both in terms of operations, safety, but also financial, and see how that can work to introduce AAM within the to support the tourism industry within the country. With that said, all the opportunities also come with some of the challenges. Obviously, we see some improving in regarding regulations within the country that support the introduction of AAM, and there are strong interests that driving it forward. But with that said, there's still a lot of more regulations that need to be taken care of: the airspace regulation, the airworthiness regulation, and so on, and how we can bring this and complete the package so that we can support the introduction of AAM in a timely manner. Opportunity is there. Passenger drone for tourists, just Bangkok alone, we welcome about 32 million international tourists within 2024, and with that, some of those tourists and also the local would have the interest and also the purchasing power to actually be passengers of the AAM once the technology is ready to be deployed. There are also the package delivery opportunity within the countries that can utilize the AAM facilities, but also the UAM capabilities as well. Another challenge that we see beyond the regulatory framework that need to be continually enhanced is the complexity of some of the airspace that we will be facing. The good destinations that can be financially feasible to introduce AAM also a busy airspace, right? We have the private aircraft flying, we have commercial aircraft flying, and some of the tourist destination also supporting international airport as well. So that airspace complexity need to be taken into account. Obviously, safety is paramount and probably the most important aspect of aviation. So to be able to support a new type of operations, there's certainly a lot of work that need to be done. And that include the use of the integration between the air traffic management system and the unmanned air traffic management, but also how we're going to utilize the airspace effectively so that both conventional aviation and the new type of aviation such as AAM can live and be growing all together without being impediments to one another. So with that, I conclude my presentations, and hopefully in the next future meetings, we would have opportunity to share with you the progress within the countries as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Love it, Napadol. Great presentation. And you're right, Thailand is a gorgeous country, and if nothing more, advanced air mobility, eVTOL, UAM, RAM would be very beneficial for the tourists that come to your country, and that can be used in a positive manner. I think a lot of applications are there, and we're definitely going to see more activity. Investors know that this is where one of the areas is tourism, and advanced air mobility will be a big plus up. So thank you so much for your presentation. We're rolling along. We're going to move from Thailand to Vietnam, and we're going to have the country presentation from Cao Nguyen. Cao Nguyen is up next.
Yeah, it's me here.
There you go. And I hope I didn't mess your name up too much, but we're looking forward to your presentation. By the way, audio feeds have been good on my end. I hope the rest of the folks can hear well. And if you can just give me a quick check 1, 2, 3, sir, just to make sure we're good on your mic.
1, 2, 3. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you good. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, I will share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
I can. I believe we can.
Okay, I will start. So good day, everyone. My name is Khoa, and I'm honored to represent Vietnam at this year's forum. Today, I'll be sharing some Vietnam progress and insight in the UAM sectors. So recently, several business units in Vietnam has just proposed an alignment with China's low-altitude economy models, which focus on three main pillars: the use of eVTOLs and UAV for logistic applications in agriculture and environmental monitoring, and the development of smart infrastructure integrating AI and IoT technologies. This proposed alignment reflects a regional ambition to accelerate innovation by adapting proven frameworks to our local context. We can view this as an encouraging direction for early AAM adoption. And furthermore, the drone industry in Vietnam is rapidly growing, valued at 63.8 million USD in 2024, and projected to nearly triple by 2032. On the regulatory front, the Ministry of National Defense has just released Vietnam's new no-fly and restricted fly zone map. This framework applies to drone, UAVs, and other flying vehicles. Additionally, resolution number 57, issued in December last year, emphasized science, technology, and digital innovation as national priorities. This resolution, I would say, is now a very, very hot topic here in our country. It identifies UAVs, aerospace system, and AI as key sectors, promoting R&D investment, stronger private sector and government partnership. While progress is being made, it's important to acknowledge that Vietnam's AAM ecosystem is still in its early stages. As we know, public perception is critical to AAM adoption in Vietnam. It remains mixed. On the negative side, there's still limited awareness of AAM concept in Vietnam. People often express concern about airspace safety, system reliability, and they view air taxi as a premium or impractical solution. On the positive side, there's a growing recognition of AAM environmental and societal benefits. The public see potential in reducing urban congestions, faster disaster response, and supporting Vietnam green growth and sustainability goals. To bridge this gap, we need transparent communication, public demonstration, and clear storytelling to build trust and excitement. A recent case study that reflects public sentiment is the drone light show incident in April this year. The event, featuring more than 10,000 drones, was abruptly suspended due to signal failures, causing several drones to fall into the audience area. This incident raised serious safety concerns, led to widespread media coverage and public debate about the regulation and oversight of mass UAV operations. While unfortunate, it served as an important lesson, highlighting the need for redundant safety systems and clear risk communication protocols. Well, looking ahead, Vietnam has strong potential to emerge as a key player in Southeast Asia AAM landscape. Our ongoing urbanization, growing infrastructure demands, and interest in emergency service make us a promising testbed for new aerial mobility solutions. To move forward, I believe Vietnam must accelerate regulatory clarity, engage the public on AAM's benefits, and last but not least, foster international partnership to bring proven technology into the local ecosystem. So in closing, Vietnam is preparing to rise with a wave of advanced air mobility, and not as a follower, but as a contributor to Southeast Asia. Thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to working with many of you to advance AM, not just in Vietnam, but globally. And you can see here my contact details. Please feel free to connect with me or reach out at any time. Thank you once again.
Good. Love it. Thank you so much, Kao. Yeah, you mentioned something real briefly: public sentiment, public acceptance. Every country has to deal with that. It is what the public is driving these forces. And of course, if you don't have the public buy-in, if you will, you're going to have a rough time of it. I will say Vietnam is growing as well as friends that I know. They can't wait to go back to Vietnam for visits. They love it. One of the best tourist destinations. So you're on track there. But like I said, public awareness and public sentiment is going to be key in working those areas. So again, thanks so much for your presentation. We're going to keep rolling here. Unless someone says no, we're going to move over to India now. And Ratandeep Tripathi is going to give their update from India. So the floor is yours, Ratandeep. And maybe not. We'll see. We're a few minutes behind schedule. Henry's keeping me honest here, but we'll see if unless she breaks in.
Hi, I just want to give you a quick update. I checked the participants and this person is not here, so we should probably go to the next presentation.
Okay, we'll roll with that. Then it'll bump up our time. Well, if that's correct, the next presentation is from Pakistan, Danish Fraz. Danish.
Yes.
Danish.
Hello. 1, 2, 3 check. Can you hear me?
Love it. Give me a check. 1, 2, 3, sir, on that mic.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 check. Can you hear me?
I'm reading you clear, so go for it.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me start. So are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm Danish from Pakistan, Board of License Pakistan. And without wasting time, starting to the advanced air mobility, that what we are using advanced air mobility here in Pakistan. So in Pakistan, the concept of AM is basically the use of EVTOL for on-demand and scheduled route transfer from door-to-door services and to provide clean energy to Pakistan and less wave drag. As an engineer, I will focus on it. Like it will be offering the less wave drag than like traditional helicopters that are working on the fuel. So coming to the applications in Pakistan, it can be used for the rapid transport of the critical patients, on-demand flights, and easy access to tourist areas without road fatigue, and like patrolling high-risk areas and secure and low traffic movement for the executives, foreign officers, because they occupy a lot of more space. I will discuss it, and it can also help, like in bypassing the failed roads. So advanced air mobility is really important for Pakistan because it can help out in natural disasters, such as you can see in the picture. This is a family of 12 people who just died a few months back due to floods in the northern region. And similarly, like 1,700 deaths nationwide, and 45% of them occurred in the northern regions due to the flooding. So advanced air mobility and air taxis like are the key players here in Pakistan, and it can also help for the emergency response. And you can see like every 1 hour delay can cause the mortality rate up to 17%. And similarly for the VIP moments, like when in like chief minister visit or prime minister visits, they spend almost $50,000 per trip. So which cost us $300 million annually. So by using the advanced air mobility, we can minimize this cost. Similarly for the air pollution, like 128,000 Pakistanis die yearly due to the air pollution, and eVTOL can significantly decrease it. Similarly, the vehicles are growing day by day, and Pakistan is losing like only 2 cities, Karachi and Lahore, are losing almost $2.5 billion annually due to traffic jams. Similarly, if we take this advanced mobility market to Pakistan, it can create a lot of jobs for the youth specifically. Like 60% of Pakistani youth is almost under the age of 25 or 30. So it's very beneficial for the Pakistan. So coming right to the topic, the advanced air mobility vehicles are classified into following types like tilt rotor mechanism, tilt wing, fixed rotor, and wingless. They all have their own specification and their own way of needs. Like tilt rotor, tilt wing, they offer usually more range. But if we come to the wingless, it offers us a unique and easy design, and it can be used for the short haul missions. Here in Pakistan, almost 60% of our population live in the 10 cities, and Pakistan is like a compact country. Like most population lives in like dense areas, a bit more density as compared to the other countries. Like you can see the main movements, like if some foreign officer moving from foreign office to Islamabad airport, You can see the ranges. They are 25 kilometers, 14 kilometers, 15 kilometers from. So according to these, like multi-copters are well optimized for short hops. So here in Pakistan, we are focusing on wingless advanced air mobility to get the best benefit. So Pakistan is developing advanced air mobility, and due to its significance, National University of Science and Technology Pakistan has funded its flagship project of design and development of a multi-copter air taxi for urban air mobility application. This will be the nation's first air taxi, and as a research engineer, I'm working on this project. The aim is to advise the house regarding the design and development of multi-copter air taxi project. So this is the concept design framework that we are following, and we are like teaching our students to follow this very easy way, starting from the literature review to get the details of all the air taxis around the world, mission profile, design requirement, performance, CAD, weight sizing, propulsion, aerodynamics, and the structure analysis. So here in Pakistan, for our specific air taxi, we are following a simple mission profile for the multi-copter based air taxi. It will take the passengers, and it will vertically climb up to a specific range that we have decided, and it will cruise toward the specific point and vertically descend there, and you can see the phases. A very easy mission profile, and like because we want to make it reality, we want the flying cars to be in Pakistan for the first time in Asia. So here are some of the CAD designs that we are discussing right now, and these CAD models are basically made on the SolidWorks, and each CAD model has its own significance. So after a detailed discussion and according to our landscape and the advancements in advanced air mobility, we have like selected the proposed design. It actually contains 12 propellers. The main purpose is that, like, of course, you may ask, like, why not four propellers? Why not two propellers? First of all, the main thing is safety, because like in 12 propellers, if two or three propellers fails, so it can safely land. And according to the like battery limitations and motor limitations, it's like mandatory to use 12 propellers. As you can see in our performance analysis, over performance analysis, like it's confirming that we are getting endurance up to 30 minutes, and we are getting the range of 40 kilometers. And main thing is that our A taxi will be like pulling up 300 kg of payload. Two passenger with the extra luggage, or even three passenger with 100 kg of each weight. So it's taking up to 300 kg. And there is the structural analysis to ensure you the safety of the process. You can see the effect of safety, which should be usually greater than 1.5. We are taking it 3.6, but we'll further optimize it to keep our product and to keep our design safe. And also we are working internationally, and we have we will taking part in the like IS Tech Forum in the United States in 2026. We have submitted our paper there, and we are also writing a journal paper for the review of design methodologies for urban air mobility vehicles, because like we can assume that all of the world, all of the engineers are working on advanced air mobility. So we will be providing them with the papers which will contain propulsion, aerodynamics, structures, the design, the weight sizing. It will contain each and everything, and it will be very easy for everyone to get to use our paper as a reference, and to make the our taxi like multi-copters and wingless vehicles for the advanced air mobility. So here were like a planned activity status, and we have completed almost 6 steps, as you can see, and the paper writing, the journal writing is under process. And right now we are making a scaled prototype to showcase to the people, and further move to the like lessons and certification process. So by concluding my presentation, like Pakistan is offering so much to advanced air mobility, and we are open to the opportunities like our flagship research and development, our young talent, like every year thousands of aerospace engineering graduates from Pakistan. So like they are all are available, and we are teaching them about advanced air mobility to make the future of the world. And like they are diverse sandbox areas, maybe in the cities or like high altitude valleys, into the lands, because Pakistan is a land of like you will see all seasons and all type of areas, high landscapes, mountainous areas, like watery areas. So it's the best for the testing process and for sand processing. And also Pakistan is offering a cost-effective production because of the minimal tax here on the companies. We can also like Pakistan government is also offering production in very cheap rates, and the Civil Aviation Authority in Pakistan is also supporting this process for the advancement of the air mobility. So here in Pakistan, we all are working fascinatingly for the development of air mobility. So this is all from my side. For any collaboration, for detailed design, academical collaboration, industry collaboration, we are open to work. You can see my emails and my contact number and my LinkedIn account. So yeah, this is all from my side. Thank you so much for it.
Great. Danish, thank you so much. Good presentation, and I just took a couple notes. Of course, in Pakistan, the geographic features, the mountains, the high density altitude presents challenges to AAM, but it also presents, potential benefits, as you said, with EMS capabilities and so forth. And each country has got unique geographic features which lend itself to challenges and benefits to advance their mobility, be it a drone, or eventually maybe urban air mobility, regional air mobility, and so forth. So it's exciting to hear that, and of course you have to work through those obstacles. But it's great to hear from you, and we'll see more from Pakistan. I appreciate your time, and we're gonna move along. We've got 73 participants. How about we make it a 75? We'll go to 75 and take it from there. The next presentation, again, thank you, Danish, is from the country of Eswatini. I looked it up. I did the Google Eswatini. And it's a pre-recorded session. Henry, I don't know if it's going to be able to be shared, but it is pre-recorded, so stay with me here. I'm going to mute, and hopefully it'll come up on your screen, and we'll just see what happens from here. Stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Good day, distinguished participants and esteemed colleagues. My name is Simpuwe Masego from Eswatini. I work for Eswatini Civil Aviation Authority, King Mswati International Airport, as the manager of airport operations. It is an honor for me to stand before you as a board liaison to share how air mobility is shaping the landscape, which is a journey blending innovation, regulation, and real community impact in Eswatini. Eswatini is positioning itself as a leader in advanced air mobility within Southern Africa. From a robust vision to become a regional hub to practical steps on the ground, our approach demonstrates how a small kingdom can use mobile air mobility to connect communities and open economic opportunities. A proud milestone for us is the Ngwe drone network, which was launched in June 2024. It's the country's first long-range medical drone operation using the Soup Aero kite drones. It connects clinics with life-saving supplies in under 45 minutes, no matter how remote. This shows technology truly bridging the gap between policy and people. From a regulatory standpoint, Eswaka or Eswatini has promulgated a clear interim guidance through an official circular. This ensures that owning and operating drones follows the Civil Aviation Act of 2022. An order is also under draft with continuous engagement with operators and industry stakeholders. We are building practical trusted rules as the sector evolves. Beyond the headline project, our local innovators like Flying Labs are using drones to map flood risk, support agriculture, and empower students through STEM. We've actually seen drones being instrumental during a recent flooding in the country, and our defense force used drones to locate people that were trapped, and drones have really been instrumental in that regard. So by training local pilots and aligning with continental frameworks like the Single African Air Transport Market, that's what only proves that that innovation is very important when it leaves people, connects communities, and drives shared growth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and for sharing this vision. Together, we can shape air mobility to serve our communities and inspire the next generation. I look forward to building bridges, sharing ideas, and learning from all of you here. Thank you.
Okay. Good pre-recorded presentation. I went and looked up the country. Didn't have much information on it, but certainly advanced air mobility has its applications in this country. And again, we'll see that those things continue on in the next few months and years as it advances, and it's a good thing. So appreciate the pre-recorded recording presentation, and we're going to move on at this point in time to an individual. Really like her work and her reporting. Was communicating with her yesterday on a couple of issues that are happening. Everything's breaking now, Mosaic and advisory circulars and in this country. And she's, I believe she's out of the UK. And I really like the publication and what they're doing in advanced air mobility. So next up is going to be Athena Browning from ZAG Daily. If you're there, Athena, let's go with it.
Hello. Hello, thank you, Keith or Gary, whatever you prefer. Don't want to
I'm both.
Let me just figure out how to share my screen.
Audio's good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Also, I didn't get an exact time frame, so feel free to just interrupt me whenever. I'm used to talking to time, so that's fine. Can you see my screen? Have I done that successfully?
Correct.
Yes, you can see the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully that's fine then. Again, just shout if there are any problems. So, yeah, I'm a reporter. I work for ZAG Daily. I have definitely interviewed a fair few of you who are here today, but it will be nice to get to know those of you who I don't know. And thank you to the AAM Institute for inviting me to speak. I really admire the work that all of you guys do to boost this community and foster global collaboration. So great event that you're organizing, and I'm learning a lot. For some background on the publication, I hope you can see my slide because I can't, but hopefully you can. So ZAG Daily is a digital news outlet, part of the ZAG parent group, and we focus on sustainable mobility and innovation. So we cover everything from micro-mobility to shared mobility, transport, advanced air mobility, and recently we've also started covering autonomous vehicles, and that's quite an interesting field in itself. But I lead our AAM coverage, so I write daily news stories. I run a few interview series. One I'd like to spotlight is called Radar, and it's a Q&A series with interview leaders. I think some AAM Institute members have also featured in it. So hit me up if you're interested at all in the future. And I produce our annual ZAG Air List, where we spotlight 50 change makers in the industry, which we had our first ever inaugural ZAG Air List in January. And we have a podcast too, but I can't delve into everything that we do. So for today, interesting hearing about all the other countries and what you guys are up to. I am here to kind of run through some recurring themes and trends that I've picked up on since roughly January, since reporting on the sector this year, and kind of myth bust some things, look at some predictions and whether they came true. Everything is obviously based on my own reporting. If you disagree with anything, please hit me up on LinkedIn and challenge me. I always love a good debate. So first, I want to crack on with China's low altitude economy. And I know that that is not exclusive to China, as many presentees today have already said. Back in January, there was quite a flurry of predictions about where AAM is going in 2025. And a lot of experts said that China would kind of outpace everyone in progressing its low altitude aviation this year. 6 months on, I would say they're not wrong in that prediction. In March, we saw EHang became the first EVTOL manufacturer globally to secure full regulatory approval for commercial pilotless passenger flights, and that marked the beginning of public access autonomous air taxi flights in China and therefore worldwide as well. So yeah, milestone no other country has yet achieved. And since then, EHang has been very proactive in also partnering with universities and setting up labs abroad. Then in May, Aerofugia obtained a CCAR 135 certificate, and then just last week, Autoflight's Carryall became the first heavy lift eVTOL over a ton to be certified for commercial cargo flights in China. It's actually 2 tons, but just nuance. So yeah, together these approvals are showing that the country is very rapidly creating an operational ecosystem for low altitude aviation. And you can read all about it in depth if you follow the links on these slides. However, I would argue that the biggest China-related story of 2025 was not particularly eVTOL related. It was actually all about tariffs. So even people who don't really know or care about aerospace were following the China-US trade tensions, and we definitely saw those ripple through the AAM sector. Earlier this year, for context, although I'm sure you're all very versed in this as is, the US administration introduced sweeping tariffs on Chinese imports with threats of up to 104% unless Beijing rolled back its own levies. While EHang said that it was largely insulated from this thanks to localized supply chains and 95% of all of its revenue coming from within China, its NASDAQ-listed stock did still slide more than 20% directly after the announcements. Now, the tariff debacle is still ongoing, but it's definitely calmed down. And this issue generally runs deeper than one company's share price. The AAM industry does rely, as today's conference shows, on global supply chains, global collaboration, certification pathways, and cross-border investment and collaboration. As East-West relations harden, new questions are emerging, like will Chinese OEMs face barriers in international markets? Could Western regulators slow-walk certifications? And will trade policy fragment what has so far been a very globally connected industry? Judging by the nature of conferences like this, I would hope that the latter is not true. But as a reporter who's also very interested always in the geopolitical side of a story, I do think we're going to see some interesting and quite turbulent times ahead. If I go back to my slide. Have I lost it? Oh dear, I've lost all my notes. One moment. Okay. So it would be, I think, difficult to talk about tariffs without bringing up the US. And the US has made some very dramatic moves of its own this year, some expected and others not. Just yesterday, I published a story on the FAA's recent Mosaic rule, which Keith very kindly contributed to himself. The overhaul modernizes light sport aviation regulations for the first time in 2 decades, opening the door for small 2 to 4 seat eVTOLs to certify more quickly and cheaply. Keith himself did add that it won't do much for larger OEMs like Joby or Archer, who are already on long certification pathways. But for smaller companies, it's a pivotal moment that lowers barriers to entry for electric flight. And this comes on the heels of President Trump's executive orders signed last month, directing federal agencies to fast-track eVTOL approvals, support drone operations beyond visual line of sight, and crack down on rogue UAV activity ahead of major events. Taken together, these moves suggest a shift in US policy, from cautious and incremental to bold, sweeping, and politically driven. The effect is already being felt in certification timelines, funding sentiment, and global positioning as America races to close the perceived gap with China. Now, I would be doing an injustice to my own continent if I did not talk about Europe, but since I don't have time to talk about every country in Europe, and there are plenty of experts here to do that, I want to spotlight a country that comes up again and again in many of my interviews, and that is Ireland. One of my recent interviewees called Ireland a Goldilocks economy for AAM, meaning it's a sweet spot of geography, weather conditions, and an innovation-friendly ecosystem. Ireland has emerged as a hub for drone operations and was also the first stop on Beta Technologies' European tour. Sneak preview, tomorrow I'm releasing my next radar interview, which is with Chris Caputo from Beta Technologies, and he actually also complimented Ireland's excellent conditions as a strategic partner and gateway to the broader European aviation market. So look out for that on our website tomorrow. The idea of Ireland as both a gateway and a testbed for AAM is gaining momentum, but my own country, the UK, has seen some milestones of its own recently. From Vertical Aerospace's VX4 completing the first airport-to-airport EVTOL flight, to Skyfly making Europe's first airfield-to-airfield EVTOL flight, to Skyports completing one of the UK's first vertiports at Bicester. Europe may not be moving quite as fast as China or now the US in terms of certification, but there is a sense that key hubs are laying solid groundwork for the continent's AAM future. Now, I'd like to wrap up with a topic that if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see me talk about quite a lot, and that is defense. This is something that keeps resurfacing in a lot of my reporting. We're already seeing dual-use aircraft becoming central to strategy. Vertical Aerospace is leaning very hard into defense. Recently, they showed off their VX4 at the world's biggest military air show. And it's also developing a long-range hybrid VX4 variant designed to serve logistics and defense missions, not just civilian air taxis. Archer has gone a step even further, launching a dedicated defense division, raising $300 million to build hybrid propulsion VTOLs for military use. And then we have Electra Aero, who's following a similar path, focusing on rugged, short takeoff, hybrid military aircraft for commercial use and special missions. Unlike civil certification, military pathways are often quicker, more flexible, and driven by urgent operational needs. Plus, they don't have the risk factor. So while drone programs already touch on concepts like kill chains and combat autonomy, AAM defense discussions remain more cautious for now. But the geopolitical climate is changing fast, and I think with it, we will see the uses for AAM aircraft changing. I would add on this a personal note that does not come in any way from a place of judgment, but from my discussions with people in the drone sector. I think the kind of debate around whether you should use AAM in the military and the ethical considerations attached to it is perhaps a little bit more nuanced. And you have people who are willing to talk about the kill chain and what that entails, and that your technology could actually be connected to taking a human life. I think when it comes to EVTOL aircraft, we're not quite there yet in that discussion, and hopefully we'll get there. But I think there's still some gap to close between the word defense and what that actually means in practice. But defense could prove to be the fastest track to scale AAM adoption globally. So with that, I hope I haven't gone over time. Thank you for listening, and thank you again to the AAM Institute and all of you for having me.
Well, thank you, Athena. That was a great overview, very enlightening, and I think you're spot on in so many areas, and even your impressions and thoughts. You mentioned Mosaic and LSA. Yeah, Air, Skyfly, which is right out of Europe, the UK, Pivotal. I think 2 of the 3 of those right there are overseas, founded companies that would benefit certainly with LSA and Mosaic, and you see them a lot more in the news. A couple of them, I think, were up at Oshkosh, and you see them a lot on their news, and you report, and they're going to be moving forward. And that's the benefit to that type of regulatory update. So I appreciate your comments. We'll see more of you, of course. I'd love to read your, what you have to say in the AM sector, and hope to see you and hear from you again in the near future. We're rolling along here. It looks like the next event, if you will, is a 10-minute break. So we'll do that, and then after that, we'll have a kind of another representation from Gloria from the AMI that's going to talk about the Pulitzer Electric Aircraft Race, which is, I think, pretty cool. I'm going to try to get up there. It's not too far from where I live. It's going to be a kind of resurgence or reinventing or reformatting of something that happened years ago, and Gloria will tell you more about it. But for now, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We'll adjourn, and we'll come back, and then we'll hear from Gloria. And folks, if you could hear me in Eastern Standard Time, I'm not that great on the UT time, but right now it's 11:20 here. So 10 minutes would be about 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll reconvene, and hopefully Gloria will be on to talk a little bit more about the Pulitzer race.
Hi, Keith. How you doing?
Jim,
Good to see you up there.
yes, well, yeah. I'm Gary and then I'm Keith. It kind of goes back and forth. I changed the name, but I kind of morph into both. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think are you presenting or have you presented during the forum at all?
I'm supposed to present, I believe, in this session.
Oh, coming up.
I haven't. Yes, I haven't presented yet.
Okay, Henry, probably here. I have Gloria scheduled, but
Okay.
that may be. I don't know if that's going to be changed or not. But I have her at this time talking about the Pulitzer electric aircraft race. But yeah, and I don't know if she's on. We're going to wait for her. I did send her a
I see
message.
Gloria right there. She just popped up on the
There you
screen.
go.
Hi,
Yeah.
Gloria.
I'm here.
Beautiful.
Hi.
Beautiful. So, like I said, hopefully everyone will come back. There's Gloria from, and nice to meet you, Gloria.
Nice to meet you. We've never actually
No,
met, so.
no, I think like everyone else, we're probably connection with LinkedIn, and of course, you and the AMI. I am the AAMI as well. So let me just introduce you real quickly here, because we're rolling. Things are working well here, and I believe you were on and you'd presented in the previous forum dates, and it's good to kind of reinforce what you're going to discuss right now. This is a significant event, and I think it's historic. And like I said, I would like to get up there. I believe it's in Ohio, but I'll listen and stand down in a moment. And you're going to tell us all about this and why it is really cool. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Gary. I can't wait to meet you in person in Springfield, Ohio. So my name is Gloria Bouillon. I'm the CEO of Aviators Advisors. I specialize in stakeholder engagement and particularly with large-scale projects around the U.S. In communities that sometimes have different viewpoints on aeronautical operations and activities, the different types of businesses that operate on airports and airfields. And so I work a lot with communities around the nation in integration with some of these businesses and OEM adoption. And that's why it was quite natural for me to be the community integration director with the AMI Institute. Dan Sloat, Scott Newman, and I are part of the steering committee for the Pulitzer Electric Air Race event coming up in October. So the dates, I'm going to put all the information in the chat right up at the end of this, and where you can find information on a lot more information, I should say, on sponsorship and actually purchasing tickets. The air race is will mark the 100th anniversary of the Pulitzer Air Race events from the 1920s. So not only are we looking at this as bringing back the Pulitzer trophy, it's actually in the Smithsonian right now, but we're looking at a 3D mock-up printout that we can actually award to the recipient of I guess the race recipient, and we'll keep everyone informed because we have some other sponsorships, including FlightAware. So we're going to have live tracking of the event for those who cannot attend in person, though of course we encourage everyone to attend in person, though we understand the location will be a little bit difficult. So we do have some exciting announcements with some of the partnerships that we are working on for the Pulitzer Air Race event. The race itself is going to be held at the Springfield Beckley Airport in Springfield, Ohio. It will be in coordination with the National Advanced Air Mobility Center of Excellence, NAMC, their annual conference, which is their location is actually at the Springfield Airport itself. So we'll have the race itself on starting the 10th of October up through October 15th. Again, I'll put these dates in the chat and then more information on the websites. That way you can follow along. Again, if it can't be in person, it can be virtual. In addition to the air race itself, we're going to have a STEM education day, field trips for local schools in the area starting October 10th. October 11th, we're actually going to have the AAM Expo with experience flights. The experience flights and demonstration flights are going to be including aircraft from this era as well as all the previous past century. So again, this is a way to engage the community because a lot of these events, if you bring out some of the older aircraft, you get the demographics of all types of individuals wanting to see, touch, feel these aircraft. That same day, we'll have the course practice. This is a 60 nautical mile race. And October 12th, we'll be awarding the trophy races and then the Poulter Centennial Celebration. Again, that's with the static displays. And then October 13th, we're having the Electric Aircraft World Record attempts with NAA, the National Aeronautic Association. And then this will be a town hall style forum. Again, this is part of the driving public acceptance and where we're really going to see a reaction from the communities, particularly in Springfield, Ohio, and from the surrounding areas. Then October 14th and 15th, we'll have the NAMC Annual Industry Forum with presentations, training workshops. And if we have, we're going to be inviting local and elected politicians from local jurisdictions as well as state and federal agencies. Again, this is for hands-on experience for the local communities to see, touch, feel, and experience electric mobility. We'll showcase mobile charging units, drone capabilities, and demonstration flights in a family and friendly environment and to really watch history in its making. For sponsorship opportunities, as well as all of the race information where you can sign up, it's not too late to be a participant. We will be making a very, very exciting announcement. We've been waiting to make this announcement for quite some time this week, so please be aware of and keep attuned to our press release coming out at the end of this week. And then pack your bags to come to Springfield, Ohio. So again, we're looking for race entrants, teams, universities. We have sponsorship and scholarships available. So again, I'm going to put the website information in the chat area. So anyone looking to participate either on virtually or in person, you'll be able to connect through those websites. Thank you very much, and good morning, good evening, and good night to everybody.
Love it. I love it. A couple comments. You know, what Gloria is kind of said is, you know, Oshkosh is one thing, but this event is focused totally on EV, aerial, air, electric vehicle, aircraft, electric, and the static displays and whatever may happen as this planning starts the first time. This can be a huge win for AAM because it's focusing on our industry. Not, you know, Oshkosh is great, but it's a subset, if you will. And you know, you'll see a couple of the OEMs there and so forth. But everyone may walk by and say that's cool, you know, and then they might look to go to the the F-18 or whatever it may be, or the 747. Here, it's going to be focused specifically on our industry. So get involved, contact Gloria, press, branding, everything is going to be critical. If you pull it off and it's done right, you're going to get a lot of mileage from this event, and I believe that that's going to happen. So this is global. So folks, anyone in the world, think about this because the time is getting short. It's already here, beginning of August. So again, I think Gloria may discuss this and talk again tomorrow about it, but tell your folks, tell your colleagues and your associates about this. This is significant, and we got to ramp this up. There's my plug for that. So I'll say thank you very much, and we'll maybe hear from you tomorrow. We're going to roll to our next presentation, which is from the country of Rwanda. Cynthia Isimbi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is up next. And if so, we'll see if she comes on board here. We'll check her audio and then we'll roll. But again, Gloria, thanks a lot. I'm excited to hear this what's happening.
Thank you.
And if Cynthia, if you are there, Give you a second to get on board here. If not, we shall roll with the next presentation. But for now, let's just give it a sec. And let's see any comments from me. Let's get some more participants on the event here. Henry may come in here. I don't know.
Hi, Gary. What seems to be the issue?
This is Keith. I'm trying to see if our next presentation, what I have here is Cynthia from Rwanda. Is she available?
I saw her earlier on. Let me check.
Okay. While we're here, no dead air time. Veterans nominations. I mentioned that earlier. I'll put that in the chat for veterans that are working in AA, advanced air mobility globally. That would be interested in being a nominee for the 2025 report coming out this November. I'll get you some information on that. Gloria just presented the Pulitzer Prize race. Jim Ives, great stuff there.
So I just checked, and Cynthia will not be here. It looks like she's not here right now. I believe she left. So the next presentation is from Norway, and it's a pre-recorded, so I can present my screen for that one if you'd like.
Cool. Okay. We'll go with Norway and take it away.
Dear all, my name is Øystein Enø, and I would love to present the Air Mobility Forum report for Norway. So let's start with looking at the industry milestones since last time. L3 AS is steaming ahead with their electric seaplane Noemi, a 9-passenger all-electric seaplane. In June, they conducted a successful 1.5 scale model test flight. Projects and initiative launched by 2025. There are expectations that 40% of offshore inspections in Norway could be drone-driven, highlighting the growing adoption of drones in the industrial logistics. Partnerships and collaborations. In early March 2025, Avinor and the Norwegian CIA launched Norway as an international test arena for zero and low emission aviation, using the beta technologies ALIA CX300 aircraft operated by Bristol, Norway. Cargo demo flights is set to begin between Stavanger and Bergen in Q3 or Q4 in 2025. Noteworthy trials and demonstrations. Avinor has teamed with Thales to implement Top Sky UAS for establishing Norway's nationwide unmanned traffic management. The system enables automated real-time drone airspace management, including beyond visual line-of-sight flights across cities, suburbs, and regional areas. Key changes in legislations, regulatory advancements, or setbacks. So not much in Norway there, but EASA's May 2025 certification of Andra Technologies as Europe's first use-based service provider is set to support Norway's drone ecosystem by enabling services like geo-management and flight authorizations. Government initiatives or policies promoting AM, a letter of intent from December 2024 between the Ministry of Transport, Avinor, and the Norwegian CIA designates Norway as an international test arena for zero and low emission aircraft. This includes a regulatory sandbox to trial EVTOL cargo flights by late 2025. And this is obviously the mentioned initiative using the beta technologies, ALIA CX300 aircraft. Yeah, the government has also allocated 50 million Norwegian krone in the 2025 state budget to Avinor and the Norwegian CIA to support infrastructure certification and regulatory framework for AAM. So the public sentiments report on public reaction to AAM, and these are also numbers from late 2024, shows that 63% of Norwegians have a positive view of drones. Acceptance is strongest in the urban areas and among younger people. Support increases when drones serve medical, safety, or environmental purposes. So the general population sentiment is largely neutral, while concerns as the potential of risk of battery fires are still present. But Norway's extensive and reliable electric vehicle fleet offers some reassurance. So the negative displays, there are noise concerns in nature areas, privacy fears from drones operating near homes or used by the police, complaints about tourists flying illegally in cities like Oslo and Tromsø. The positive displays, strong approval for medical drones, like the showcased Airmore trials in Stavanger. Home delivery test in Lillehammer received positive reactions from the public. Drones has been widely praised in rescue missions and disaster response. Community support for AAM initiatives. Support is high when drones offer clear public benefit. Efficient public engagement like forums and demos seems to build a trust. Local governments are integrated drones into climate and transport plans. So for upcoming events, as of mid-2025, there are no major AAM events scheduled to take place in Norway. Although I'm leaving to Oshkosh on this year, and if anybody is around, please reach out. So for the conclusion, it's more or less the same as in the last report. Norway's unique geography with numerous remote communities and well-developed short runway network continues to drive the aviation strategy, but now with an even stronger focus on safety and proven technologies. So for the opportunities, there appear to still be significant opportunities for government support in launching new AAM initiatives. This is proven by the continuation of support of companies such as Elfly, Ivient, and the Norwegian Air Ambulance Foundation. So for the challenges, Norway still offers good potential as an AAM testbed, but faces some key hurdles as weak investor confidence, regulatory delays, strong ground transit alternatives, infrastructure cost, and kind of limited supply chains. As a result, commercial rollout, especially for passenger services, remains unlikely this year, though uses like rural routes or Medivac may still gain some ground. And as for my project, as I mentioned in my report earlier this year, we have launched an exciting project with a group of enthusiasts from Norway's Experimental Aircraft Association chapter. The goal is to convert a Ragwing RV2 special from a two-stroke petrol engine to a fully electric powertrain using technologies from an electric motorcycle. And the aim for this project is to create a proof of concept while inspiring and educating other Norwegian EAA members as well as the public. As a project manager and electrical lead for a project, I'm thrilled to contribute in this initiative, which is targeted for completion by 2026. So for progress report, we are currently evaluating several powertrains options for this aircraft. But although this is a low-cost project, we have begun exploring potential sponsorships opportunities to support further development. That was all from me. Thank you so much for your attention and have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation, Norway. Very, very good. We're rolling right along here. According to my schedule here, it looks like Rose from Tanzania is up next to present what's happening in her neck of the woods. And if that's so, Rose, I thought I saw you. So you are good to go. Just give me a quick sound check if you could on your audio. I'd appreciate it.
I am.
Very good. Sounds good. I can hear you fine. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for the platform and everybody that is here and the opportunity to talk to you about Tanzania. In Tanzania, in the last few quarters, we're still in the drone space. So that's where I'm going to be presenting mostly. Regulatory-wise, there's been a lot of openings in terms of training centers. In the past, there was only one that was very much affiliated with the CAA. But now we have few others that are opening up and are being certified for training center. There's been interest in delivery and assembly, drone assembly, and the regulatory is they're going through the regulatory process, and they're in the last steps to get this. So those who are interested in this space, it's opening up in Tanzania, as well as there's a lot of interest in the agriculture space. And we've seen the government actually taking steps and bringing in a lot of spraying drones in that space. So there's acceptance, there's knowledge, and regulatory-wise, that is opening. I had presented earlier, we have BVLOS regulations in place, and that's where we are growing into. Like I said, those who do not know Tanzania, it's almost 65% in the agriculture space. And because of that, it's no wonder that the drones spraying and spreading is something that has been very much accepted. Like I said, that the government and the plant health authorities are the ones that are leading some of these efforts, but then you also have private entities that are also getting into this space. Agribusiness-wise, we see that crops such as sugar plantations are very much into this. In the past, they were using small planes, and this no wonder comes at a cheaper and more efficient way to do the same thing. Other uses are in the vicinity are photography, a lot of surveying, and mining in the mining sector as well. There's a lot of drone use in that space. In terms of events, we have few events, but notably the Drone User Conference. This was held last year by a private entity, and now they're also gearing to do another one at the end of Q4 this year. We've had training is something that is very much crucial, and it's ongoing. And you see here that we grow young minds that are going to take up this space. One thing also to note is, I forgot about the percentage, but Tanzania is a very young country age-wise. So you have a lot of digital users that are excited about drones and growing into that space to use in the technology space. Now, finally, my own company, which is AltitudeX, we're in the drone space as well as satellite, and some of the verticals that we work into are agriculture and infrastructure survey, such as the telecom space. And yes, so that's what we're growing into, and we are happy to say that the future of drones in Tanzania and probably the EVTOLs in the future, it's bright. And the verticals that are really attractive for now is agriculture is one, because it's an actual economic use for people in this space, but then also the other uses in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the mining. We are blessed with so many minings, and that's the future that we have in that space, and it's open to everyone, those who wants to collaborate, to reach out and to work with us. we are extending an invitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rose. Good information. Things are happening in your country. Again, geographic considerations are critical in concern regarding AAM and how they can apply. So good to hear from you, and I'm sure we'll have more information on what's happening in the near future. Again, thank you. All right, we are moving a little bit close in the area. We're going to Zimbabwe, and Jessica, if she's on board here, she's going to present what's happening in Zimbabwe for us, and we'll see if she comes aboard. If not, we'll continue.
Hello.
Here's Jessica.
I hope I'm audible.
A little bit in and out. Are you close enough to your mic right now?
Hello. Yes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, keeping that if you could. That sounds pretty well, Jessica.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right. Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm representing Zimbabwe. So I'll be talking about drone technology in Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe's drone sector is rapidly growing with a strong potential in agriculture, mining, surveillance, and aerial mapping. While the industry faces challenges such as regulatory gaps, limited infrastructure, and low public awareness, local innovation continues to push boundaries. So this presentation is going to highlight local developments and regional collaboration opportunities and how Zimbabwe is shaping in the unmanned aerial vision. In agriculture, where drones are already proving transformative startups like Zimbabwe Flying Labs and Foundations for Farming are using drone technology for crop spraying, fumigation, healthy analysis, and yield predictions. This provides a faster and a more affordable way to monitor crops from planting to harvesting stages. This has been a game changer for small to medium scale farmers. And the one standout innovation which we're currently using, it's an application called the Skippy Scout, where we're automating DJI drones to capture high resolution images for fields in just minutes. It's faster than traditional field walking. It also delivers AI-powered reports on crop health, pest damage, and weed presence, and more, helping farmers make informed decisions and quickly. Then we're going on to enhancing safety in Zimbabwe. The government of Zimbabwe, through the Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, ZIMRA, has deployed drones for security and surveillance across key border points, most notable the Beitbridge border post with South Africa. These drones provide real-time monitoring to detect and deter smuggling and other legal cross-border activities, significantly strengthening border control efforts. And also, drones have played a key role in partnership with Zimbabwe National Parks. Drones now patrol in critical conservation zones such as Hwange National Park and Gonarejo National Parks. This initiative has led to 30% reduction in rhino poaching and has improved the ability to track and safely redirect stray elephants, lions, and buffaloes, protecting both wildlife and nearby communities. And also the Mineral Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, a state-owned agency responsible for marketing all mineral exports except silver and gold, has announced plans to deploy drones to monitor mining operations under its authority. The goal is to improve mineral accounting by verifying production volumes and monitoring transit cargo and stockpiles as part of broader efforts to combat smuggling and under declaration of mineral goods. And benefits for drone technology in Zimbabwe. It's generating employment opportunities and maintenance, data analysis, which is contributing to Zimbabwe's GDP. Drone technology is also boosting Zimbabwe's key sectors, enhancing agriculture, mining, surveying by 20 to 30%, enabling 90% faster aerial mapping for mining, and topographic surveys and volumetric measurements surveys. Effectively, in remote areas, drones are being used, like they're in limited infrastructure such as border surveillance and bait bridge, where poor roads and energy shortage make traditional monitoring difficulty. And it's also supporting anti-poaching efforts through Wange National Park, success in reducing rhino poaching by 30% through drone patrols. The challenges which we're facing are the strict laws, limit drone operations, including restrictions on beyond visual line of sight, BV laws, flights, and high license fees. There's slow adoption of policies to emerging drone applications such as urban deliveries and new commercial use cases. There's high tax, import taxes on drones coupled with complex taxes clearance procedures, which is increasing the cost of entry. And also there is public acceptance of drone technology remains low, especially in rural areas. Then the other challenge is limited battery life, which remains one of the biggest challenges impacting drone endurance and operational range. In regulations on the use of drone technology in Zimbabwe. So the Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, they have said what you need to know before you fly your drone here. Drones are allowed to fly a maximum height of 120 meters. A drone is allowed to fly at least 500 meters away from the pilot, or 1,000 meters if awarded special permission, and you should be assisted by a qualified visual observer. Drones cannot be flown at night unless one has been approved by the authority. It is not permitted to fly a drone within 5 kilometers of any airport. To fly your drone, you're required to have drone insurance. Operators are required to have a letter of approval from the authority, and it is valid for 1 year, but it can be extended to 3 years. You are required to show your ability to fly your drone, as well as to show that your drone meets the safety standards. Whenever you fly your drone, always carry a fire extinguisher and a first aid kit. And that's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate the update. You have a great day. We're going to continue moving on. We have a pre-recorded presentation from Namibia, and we'll play that right now.
Good day. It's amazing to see everybody from all corners of the world. My name is Virginia Imana. I will be presenting from Namibia. I am also the head of training from Flying Labs Namibia, which is an ATO here locally. If you never heard of Namibia, Namibia is a beautiful country just about training is a beautiful country just above South Africa and just bordering Angola and Botswana as well. It is very popular for scenic and bush flights.
Well, as you can tell, audio is cutting in and out. I'm able to see the slides, and I don't know if we'll continue seeing the slideshow, but I'm not really catching a lot of the audio, but just stand by for that.
I agree. Do you think it's possible we take an early break while I troubleshoot a little bit?
Yeah, why don't we do that? We've got, we could break and then we could kind of rearrange the schedule because prior to the break, we've got Clem Newton Brown, who a lot of folks know. And then we've got Taschen from Germany as well. So yeah, let's break right now. How about if we take the 10-minute break now? I've got 12:05 Eastern Standard Time. That would be 12:15 to reconvene. Hopefully, Henry could take care of that. We could get this in and then we could move right along. So how about we take the 10-minute break now? Be back in 10 minutes, 12:15 Eastern Standard Time.
Good day. It's amazing to see everybody from all corners of the world. My name is Vijino Imana. I will be presenting from Namibia. I am also the head of training from Flying Labs Namibia, which is an ATO here locally. If you never heard of Namibia, Namibia is a beautiful country just above South Africa and just bordering Angola and Botswana as well. It is very popular for scenic and bush flights. On the top right is our international airport. This is where you'd first enter the country, and it is, of course, home to two of the world's oldest desert
well, where I'm at, hope you enjoyed your 10-minute lunch. Yeah. Anyway, moving along. Hope everyone come back and join. I was informed that the audio seems to work with the little issue we had with Virginia for Namibia. So we're going to pick that up. And after that, we'll go to Australia. We'll hear from Germany. And then David's will be from Noun, will be presenting. So basically, kind of flipped our break just a few spots ahead. And at this time, like I said, hopefully we'll be able to have that audio fixed. So stand by for that. Also, you could go to the Advanced Air Mobility website, learn about what's going on with a lot of folks that are listening and that may not be a part of AAMI. Take a look at that. There's a lot of opportunities, bios information, et cetera, Just go to their website to learn more, and I'll stand down.
Good day. It's amazing to see everybody from all corners of the world. My name is Virginia Imana. I will be presenting from Namibia. I am also the head of training from Flying Labs Namibia, which is an ATO here locally. If you never heard of Namibia, Namibia is a beautiful country just above South Africa and just bordering Angola and Botswana as well. It is very popular for scenic and bush flights. On the top right is our international airport. This is where you'd first enter the country. And it is, of course, home to two of the world's oldest deserts. And we rely heavily on fisheries, tourism, and mining. So if you ever get some time, I invite you to come and check out this amazing country. While working with Flying Labs, we've come a long way in terms of our industry milestones in the UAV space. We've moved from a space where a drone was a foreign thing, and now we have acceptance both from government and academia, getting more involved, especially in the research arm. We have a lot of training organizations, so we have a lot more pilots. And the beautiful thing is that with everybody coming together, both government and private sector, we have a lot of UAV use cases, all the way from agriculture in terms of monitoring crop health to monitoring environmental degradation and even in the mining sector. So we have amazing use case library on the Flying Labs website, but then also a lot of partners in the Namibia space that have entered and are using drones and of course the respective sensors to do some amazing work with the drone technology. So we've come a long way in terms of accepting drones in the Namibian airspace. And of course, part and parcel of, coming this long way and having these amazing use cases is working closely with the stakeholders and the Civil Aviation Authority for us to get to a point where we can have safe and legal drone operations in the country. And we have our regulations now in place, we have our schools in place, so we are seeing this amazing growth in terms of drones and use cases, and the market itself in Namibia has really come to thrive in terms of drone technology. Today, drones are a normal part and parcel of everyday conversations, especially in the urban areas. It is at the tip of every young child's tongue. So it's definitely no longer a foreign entity to us, especially in urban areas. Of course, in some rural areas, you might still get a little bit of resistance, but really nothing much to hinder drone operations, especially for in a commercial sense. So hence the local market is also starting to expand, and we continue to do awareness campaigns with NGOs, of course, such as Flying Labs Namibia, but we are close with our Civil Aviation Authority, and they too continue to advocate for safe and legal drone operations. So indeed, the public is now much friendlier towards drones, and we are much happier to receive this in our airspace. Of course, we've managed to get these brilliant milestones, and we could not have achieved it alone. We work together with international partners, tech partners, other organizations, and so on. So I would like to invite all of you, if you see a great opportunity in Namibia under upcoming events, but I won't just limit it to upcoming events. I'd like to say upcoming collaboration opportunities, and this is a collaboration invitation for you as well. Namibia, I think I explained at the beginning, it's a really vast country with remote terrain. So aviation for us is very essential, not just for tourism, but for other sectors as well, from healthcare and so on. It plays a crucial role in connecting our communities. We have a very low population density, and there are very long distances between towns. So I'd love to, start the talk in terms of collaboration opportunities that you might see in Namibia. Some of these opportunities that are on the table right now is you partnering with us in terms of research. So we're going to have some research gates opening up in the year 2026. They'll be focused around medical cargo delivery, disaster response, general infrastructure assessment, as well as transportation. So partners are welcome if you are in that EVTOL space in terms of not just unmanned, but also manned EVTOL space, and you see that there could be a use case for your particular technology. You'd like to pilot or perhaps, test out some of this technology. I think Namibia is a great space to do that. So we can get in touch and you can join some of our research gates that will be opening here very soon. And then, of course, every year we do have our annual forums. We had one in 2024. We're also looking to see one in 2025, but the themes will change as the years go by. This was for our innovative approach to sustainable mineral exploration. We did see a lot of partners come through and also present their great work in their respective countries. So that is also something to keep an eye on in terms of like opportunities and upcoming events in Namibia. In order for us to get to this great space that we have in terms of regulations and safe and legal operations with drones, we had a beautiful project with the Namibian Civil Aviation Authority, and we have a white paper that is out. You can have a look at it on the We Robotics website. It is titled Airspace Harmony, a new framework for drone regulations in the global south. And it's the same way, the same model we did for drones. Unmanned aviation would like to partner with key institutions and key tech partners so that we can also upgrade our regulations to take on our manned eVTOLs as well. So again, this is a call to you. If this is something that you're interested in, we did it through a series of co-creation workshops with the industry and so on. And we would be more than glad to invite all of you as well to participate in this, because this is really the gateway to having successful manned eVTOLs in our industry, the same way we did with drones. So we're still at the early stage. We're looking at starting in 2026. So please, if you are seeing a use case in Namibia, seeing Namibia as a great place for you to launch your products and see some great social good use cases, and also help to, kind of get the regulations there in Namibia space, we would love to collaborate with you on this one as well. So thank you so much for listening to the update on Namibia. I sincerely look forward to hearing from you. To reach us, you can email me at virginie@flyinglabs.org, as well as namibia@flyinglabs.org. You can also go to the General Flying Labs website. If you click Namibia, there's a general contact form, and you can reach out to us, and we'll be glad to schedule a quick Zoom call and see some great collaboration opportunities. We're currently doing stakeholder mapping up until about the end of this year, so please reach out, and it would be great to pioneer some amazing technology in the Namibian airspace. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Virginie, for that update. Sounds exciting what's happening. I also want to thank all the presenters from the last few days for taking the time and effort to put together their briefs and their presentations and what's going on in their country. Again, it's exciting. It takes a lot of time. And I do want to thank those that are listening in to the forum as well, taking your time from a very busy schedule to listen and hear what's going on in AAM. We're moving right along. We have our next presentation. By the way, if you have a schedule, we will be passing Algeria at this time, but we're going to move on to Australia. And, lots happening in Australia. A lot of folks know who Clem Newton Brown is. giving you the latest update, what's happening there. And this is a pre-recorded presentation, but I encourage you to listen in and take notes. So there we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Clem Newton Brown. Great to be here, and thank you for listening into the update on Australia. I am the CEO and founder of Skyports. We are a vertiport company that's been around for about 7 years in Australia, and yeah, we're doing a few different things in the last year or so, but I'll come to that at the end. But initially, I just wanted to give you an update on where we're at in Australia. I think our policy position is very good. Like many places around the world, the governments and air regulators are basically preparing the skies for advanced air mobility, and Australia is no different. And some could say that we're actually leading the way in a lot of this stuff. Our air regulator, CASA, a safety regulator, they have released an updated roadmap on the regulatory roadmap for advanced air mobility, which is quite exciting. So that's provided clearer regulatory timeframes and pathways and things like that for integrating emerging aviation technologies, including EVTOLs, into Australian airspace. They've also released vertiport guidelines, which was really exciting for our side of the industry and Skyports. Federal government is also very positive. Australia has announced plans to publish a advanced air mobility strategy and long-term policy settings to encourage investment and integration of advanced air mobility into the national airspace as well. So good support from federal government. And our air traffic management system, Air Services Australia, they're developing our air traffic management to enable the anticipated influx of drones and air taxis and ensure safety. So yeah, lots happening at a national level. At a state level, I think still we have Victoria and Queensland dominating. It's disappointing to see that their other states aren't as progressive. But at least we have two very active states. So Victoria has released a number of documents, including a advanced air mobility action plan, and also vertiport development and industry engagement strategies. We've got Latrobe Airport in regional Victoria, which is setting itself up as a hub for aviation, and we've also got government funding the air hub at Swinburne University. Up in Queensland, we've got the Olympic Games in 2032 in Brisbane. That's being used as a big marketing hook for a lot of the players, including Whisk. And there's strong policy support there to try to establish air taxi services by 2032. And Archerfield Airport, which is a smaller airport outside of Brisbane, is setting itself up as a hub, an infrastructure hub for AAM. So that's all exciting. At an industry level, in terms of OEMs, we only have one player in developing an advanced air taxi airframe that's doing test flights now, untethered test flights. That's AMSL Aero, and they've been kicking some big goals. We've also had interest expressed from Joby Aviation, which is looking at certifying aircraft in Australia in a bilateral agreement. And so that's pretty exciting. And we also had an announcement recently where the US, Canada, New Zealand, the UK and Australia, I think, have set up a mutual recognition scheme for air regulation, air certification of aircraft. So that's pretty exciting as well to be part of that. But Joby I understand they are pursuing certification directly in Australia. So that's very exciting. Whisk continues to have a big presence here. particularly around the Brisbane area. And Eve has a number of tourism operators and potential customers lined up, and they're also quite present here as well. As far as recent news goes, AMSL Aero, the Australian OEM for air taxis, has just appointed Adriano Di Pietro as the CEO, which is quite exciting. Adriano was with Swinburne leading their air hub at the university there, so he's got a very strong background in the industry, and I'm sure he's well placed to take AMSL to the next level. Swinburne University is also leading a CRC research program, which is a Commonwealth-funded program. It's a joint initiative to bring together the industry, government, and academia. So there's many companies such as ours that are signed up for that, and if it's successful and we get the funding, which I think goes for 10 years, that will provide significant matching funding to assist us with our efforts. So that's just a bit of a rundown. Great to be here today. And as far as Skyports goes, we've been very busy. We've pivoted a bit over the last year or so. We've moved from pursuing vertiport sites and operations to developing a patent for a product, which is a landing surface, an elevated pad in one instance, and another iteration is a sunken pit that with a pad that rises up and down. And these vertipads are designed to provide safer operations in tighter locations. So we're looking at dealing with ameliorating downwash and outwash, and it looks like our early testing shows we can reduce the dangerous downwash and outwash significantly, which will enable smaller footprints and hence being able to provide that support to the OEMs for aviation on demand in urban areas. There are about a dozen initiatives in the patent, and the other big show-stopping one is dealing with fire. So we've got two different systems for being able to immerse a burning aircraft fully in water, which from our understanding and research is really the only way to conclusively put out a battery fire that's going through its runaway. So we're working on those two things, and we're very interested in collaborating with people around the world who may want to partner with us to help us roll out our pad around the world or to license it. So please reach out if that's of interest. So yeah, all around fairly positive in Australia. We'll be running a session at the World Air Taxi Congress on Australian innovation in London in October. So hope to see you there, and I look forward to listening in on the rest of the updates for this year. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Clem. Of note, infrastructure build-out, or where we're at globally and certainly in the United States, is critical. You have to have the vertiports, the vertihubs, the vertistops to be able to accommodate the Jobies and Archers and Betas and anyone else that's going to be flying, particularly in a UAM type of setting. So that's still to be determined, and of course, it's moving along. We all know that certification is the first step for viable next steps, at least in this country. But as you hear Clem saying, that there's pivoting a little bit to other areas and other opportunities, which is exciting. So we'll keep moving along here. It looks like our next presentation comes from Germany, and it's Tassen Kart. And this is a pre-recorded presentation. I encourage you to listen in. Big things, great things are happening in Germany. So take it away.
Hi everyone, this is Tassen Kart, the German liaison for the Advanced Air Mobility Institute. So if I may introduce myself shortly, so I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Cyclotech in Austria. So my background is I'm an electrical engineer and work for the defense and the civil applications for almost more than 15 years, and including the missiles, rockets, and also I worked also for Volocopter for 4 years, and the last 2 years I've been working together with at Cyclotech. So I will be presenting what happened in the first half of the year and in Germany, and also the public acceptance about the advanced air mobility topics. And I try to be really very much honest with my observation. So I just listed some of the companies here in the field of advanced air mobility, and one of the lead companies, some of the lead companies in Germany started with Lilium, and everybody knows that what Lilium has gone through, and unfortunately the company has bankrupted in February 25, and all operations have stopped. And there are a lot of open topics with regards to the Lilium, and especially including their employees and also the IP-related topics. Another update is the Volocopter, which is another major player in the advanced air mobility in Germany. And this company was acquired by Chinese Wanfeng Group and in March 25, and all the assets transferred to the Diamond Aircraft, the Austrian Diamond Aircraft, which is also owned by the same Chinese group. So the last couple of months, Volocopter is structuring their team and trying to also progress with regards to their certification program of their Velocity aircraft. Another sad news is about the Airbus, and the City Airbus Next Gen project was suspended by the Airbus management group, considering the limited improvements and the progress on the battery technology. They don't see the viability of this technology in the short term, so that's why they just stop all the operations with regards to this program in Germany. And there are some good news in terms of in the industry, including the Wingcopter and the Veridion. Wingcopter is one of the drone delivery and the medical logistics company, secured in significant funding in the first half of the year. And another one is the Veridion, which is building the fixed wing regional aircraft, fully electrical aircraft, who also raised the significant funding in the beginning of this year. All in all, I will say that the public acceptance and including all the improvements and the progress and the different market players, that there's a high level of skepticism, especially after the major company failures in Germany. And also media did not really support the advanced air mobility activities, especially right after the Lilium and the Volocopter situation, and also the Next Gen City Airbus program suspension. So right now, what the players are trying to do is just shifting focus to the international partnerships and trying to focus on the non-passenger applications as an unmanned applications. So this is some sort of an first entry into market acceptance from the public point of view. So the real key takeaways from the first half of the year is the German passenger advanced air mobility sector experienced a really hard and difficult times, and drone delivery and also the unmanned traffic management sectors are remaining viable growth areas at the moment. And another one, the last but not least, is the regulatory framework established despite the industry challenges. So which means that EASA is really trying to push forward for some of the certification items, especially and including the unmanned applications. So all in all, I will say that it was a hard and tough year, first half of the year for Germany, as I mentioned before. There are a lot of advancements in the dual-use applications in Germany, including the quantum systems, for example. So there are also the unmanned drone applications, so with the VTOL approach. But I did not include all the defense-related topics, the fact that we always focus on the civil applications firsthand, so that's why I didn't want to really raise a lot of topics about the defense applications. So thank you very much for listening to me. I wish you all a very productive session. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much from Germany. Appreciate the update. Our next presentation, this gentleman's been waiting in the wings for a while, so I want to just introduce him. And I didn't know much about his company. I checked it out just now, and I think you'll find his presentation pretty interesting and fascinating. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to tell us today. And this is Mr. Dave. I'm sure I got saying the right last name. Sykert, I believe, or Sickert. I think it's Sykert or Sickert. So if Sickert.
Sickert, you got it right.
Got it. Okay. Well, Dave, again, it's kind of look at your background. It's very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to hear what you have to say today. So without further ado, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. Great to be here. And despite what the name says on the screen, I'm not Olga. I'm Dave. I was having some trouble getting in, so Olga sent me her link. But anyway, my name is Dave Sickert, and I'm probably one of the slightly different guests this morning in the sense that I don't have an aviation background, other than the fact that I'm a big fan, and I've flown on quite a few planes over the years. I'm the Chief and Visionary Officer at Noun. It's great to be here, and it's been fascinating listening to the stories, and that's a big part of what I want to talk about this morning is the stories that come out of the industry. And also, I want to give a heads up and a thank you to Olga and Amin for working me and the team at Noun into the schedule. I mentioned great stories. And again, as a guy who's coming from the outside under the tent, it's just fascinating to hear what's going on. And I think for the most part, most people around the world don't really understand what's happening. And there's some really exciting things going on. I'm hearing references to the future, to regulation, to the technology that we all are trying to deploy. And I've heard several references to education over the past couple of days, and actually won a couple presentations back about growing young minds, and that's really what we're about. And I'll get into some of the details in a second, but just a quick overview. What we're doing started a few years ago, actually, in this library behind me. I won't go into all the detail, but the bottom line is what we realized is there was a huge opportunity to connect kids with industry at large, with the world outside. And we managed to dabble in that space and understand where the key touch points were. And initially we didn't have a focus. We were just connecting kids to experts out in the real world. And then we started to focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, because it helped to bring what kids were learning to life. And that's a key piece. We're firm believers in the fact that if you get students excited at a young age, you can make a big difference. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in education, good and challenging around the world. But one of the things we can do is we can help to connect kids to what's happening outside that classroom and outside that library, and even outside their home. And if you can inspire someone at a younger age, your pivot point of what they can accomplish, I think, is much greater. And typically what we've done in education is at least here in the States, we kind of wait till the last minute, till they're about ready to get out of school and like, oh my goodness, we should connect them. Our focus is do it sooner. And we've seen where we can make a difference with that. I think I mentioned, we started without really much of a focus, but then we began to look at STEM and how we could connect there. And a couple of years back, we had the opportunity to interview Carl Dietrich with Jump Arrow. And in fact, we've done 2 interviews with him, a class of sixth graders, and and a class of fourth graders. Both of those really interesting sessions, and Carl's absolutely amazing at presenting what he knows and frankly representing the industry. A couple of years before that, we had a chance to interview a company that people are hearing about now called Stoke Space, and Stoke has become a major player in aerospace. Interestingly enough, we interviewed their CEO, Andy Lapsa, and we talked to him as he was closing his Series A round. So we had a group of students, fourth graders, talking to the CEO of a company that's now worth $1 billion. And that exposure is huge for them and frankly for the company, because they get that perspective of a very young audience. What we're most proud of in that interview is the fact that we had a group of students, and arguably I would call them student journalists, who interviewed Andy at Stoke 2 years before the Wall Street Journal. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Let me jump into, if I can, I'm going to be able to pull this up and share my screen. I'm going to jump into what we're doing now with the Advanced Air Mobility Group. And hopefully you can all see this screen. I'm going to assume that you can. It says I'm sharing it. So this project that we're launching this fall with the AAM Institute and others, and I'll get into that in a second, is what we call an EPR project, or educational public relations. And that's a combination of words that typically don't get combined, but we think there's a huge opportunity there. If you've got a great story to tell, whatever business you're in, appropriate anyway, business. If you've got a great story to tell and you can enlighten and inspire a young audience, we'll work with you to tell that story. And that's education and public relations coming together. Typically what we see in public relations are businesses talking to existing audiences or potential audiences, or potential customers. And we think there's an opportunity to take those stories and, as I mentioned previously, put them in front of a much younger audience and educate, enlighten, and inspire them. So quick overview. I think I've touched on a lot of this, but our objective is to connect students with the real world, and real world STEM experiences specifically. We want to spark curiosity and inspire learning. And the other key piece of what we're doing, we are more of a media company, but we see huge potential in aggregating the partners, if you will, or people in the industry, aggregating their communication channels to share the story. And actually, a great example of that is what's happening this morning with this conference. You've got people from all over the world talking about what they do, and that's somewhat of what we want to do. We want to take industry from around the world, although we're going to start in Ohio, and use those individual companies to share the story out to their audiences and really expand the awareness of AAM. So what we offer is an opportunity to share the story or your story. We keep part of what we do is we provide this content for free to the schools. I think there's a huge opportunity to do that. And if you wanted to reach out to me, and I'll give you my email later, I'll explain our thinking behind that. But we want to make sure that kids everywhere, and K through 12 is our audience, although initially we're focused on elementary school and middle school. Up-to-date information. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Example are the books behind me. If you're lucky, and many schools are, many aren't, to have libraries, there's information on those shelves that the kids can get to, and there's even information obviously online that kids can get to, but it's not necessarily current. And yet you have, and I was just looking at some while I was waiting here, you have press releases coming out on a pretty regular basis from all these companies that are involved in this industry, and they're not really targeted at a young audience, and that's what we help with. And then we provide access to cutting edge technologies and information in a safe environment. There are social media channels out there, TikToks of the world, the YouTube, Instagram, but at least here in the United States, age 13 and under, they're not really supposed to be using those services, we don't really have the restrictions. I know Australia and other places are starting to limit who can get to those different channels. Our belief is, A, we want to present the channel, the information through our own channels, but also our partners' channels. And frankly, LinkedIn, we think, is a pretty good place to do that from a B2B perspective. There's some other things we do in reaching our audiences directly, and I'll touch on that in a moment. So this fall, we're launching the STEM Educational Initiative in cooperation with the Advanced Air Mobility Institute, with X-Plane, with Let's Go Aerospace, which is a media company actually up in Washington, state of Washington, that prints a magazine, and we're going to work with them. EVTOL, thanks to Sasha, and then the Pulitzer Trophy and Drive, Ohio. And we're calling this an AAM CoLab, so it's a collaborative learning environment, bringing students, educators, and industry experts together to tell the AAM story. Touched on this really, so just a quick recap. We connect classrooms with industry to share real-world stories. So it's a combination of students, teachers, educators, librarians, experts, and then the community at large. And what's really interesting about that is kids go home, particularly at a younger age, and they go home and, here's what we did in school today. And in elementary school, that conversation happens more frequently than middle school and high school. But it is a very unique channel to get a story out to the community. And that's one of the things that we're focused on. And then overall, if we involve these audiences, obviously the goal is to create stronger community understanding. So how do we do it? Well, we schedule interviews with experts that the kids lead. They come up with the questions, they ask the questions, and we record it and then put it out through different channels. We have some hands-on activities, and you'll see one of those in a moment, but I would reference X-Plane is one of those. Creative problem solving. We've had kids come up with designs for things that they've learned from these interview sessions, and that's a fascinating process to learn or to watch. And then the other is newsletters. I touched on the fact that there's press releases that come out on a pretty regular basis, and we work with companies to convert those press releases to a different reading level. And what I find fascinating is you can take a typical press release and convert it to a fourth grade reading level, and maybe this is just me, but all of a sudden that exchange of what's typically B2B becomes very understandable for someone who's not in the industry. So it works for that younger audience, but it also works when they take that message home and explain it to the family. So the bottom line is we bridge classroom learning with aerospace and others. We have other categories, but I'm speaking specifically to aerospace and AAM in this presentation. So not only are they learning STEM, but they're learning reading, research, science, geography, and language arts and public speaking. These are some of the resources that we make available to industry and also to the students themselves. So on the left side, on the left side in the green are opportunities for the industry. There are interviews with experts, so you get to tell your story. We create content with the students, and those become what we call EPR posts that you can push back through your channels that tell your story. They also share your story in a very positive light. You're telling the world the wonderful things you do, and at the same time, you're educating kids, and that's just a great place to be. We're looking at creating an industry news feed, and this is something that we expect to have in place by 2026. And the bottom line is what this would be, if you go to almost any website that any company has, there's an about us, there's press, there's all these links across the top of their screen. And what we think is an interesting opportunity is to actually have an education link that people can learn about your business from an educational perspective, but also from an industry perspective. And then I touched on the adapted press releases. On the flip side, the blue, these are some of the resources that we're going to be putting in place in September. Some of these are in place now for other focus, industry focus that we have. But the student, we're gonna have a student sim race with X-Plane, and in this case, they feature the beta aircraft. It's already loaded in that sim, and we're going to be looking at expanding to other aircraft over the coming months. We have a newsletter. In the case of Ohio, Ohio does a great job of sharing the information about industry, transportation industry with the educators, and we're going to tap into that. And then also, obviously, the content that we're going to create with kids will be available to kids everywhere. EPR Alliance, this is what I touched on a moment ago. And this is collectively pulling together the players, and these are the ones that we have on board right now, to help push the stories out. So when we do an interview, or when we adapt a press release, or whatever that might be about AAM, these players will help us push that story out through their own channels. We're also in discussion with some regional broadcast partners to help push that story out in broadcast media and streaming media. And then you get a sense of what exposure might be. And in the lower right corner here, if you can see it on your screen, we're not going to be able to hit all of these students. That's a big reach, but we're going to hit some of them. And the reality is, as we start to create content and push it out, and it's free, schools anywhere can be able to access the story that we're telling along with the students and the experts. So bottom line, really what we're working to do here is help tell the AAM story. Content's available for free to the students, to educators, to parents. It showcases the expertise that you all have, and I've heard a lot of it over the past couple of days. We translate stories of, typically B2B or industry to industry stories of cutting edge tech, and we put it into a language that students can understand and share. And I will say there's a key part of this that typically evolves organically, and that is what we've seen quite often is as these experts share their stories and kids learn, and particularly at that younger age level, they grok this stuff with a completely different perspective. And there's some interesting stuff that comes back. I mean, what's unique about that younger mindset is they can kind of hold two different thoughts in their head at the same time that as we get older, we kind of tune out. So it's a really interesting audience to be in front of. And then ultimately, because we're working with the kids, they take that home and they share the story with family and friends. And it's a very unique channel to get information about what's going on in this industry to the world at large. So, I would love to hear from you. My email is at the bottom. It's Dave at noun with the number 2, learn, noun2learn.com. We'd love to get your insight. I'd love to hear what you think about the presentation. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think we can do to educate, future flyers. So that's what I'm up to. And again, I want to thank you all for listening and hopefully being part of the storytelling. And best to everyone on this call.
Thank you, Dave. And it's not Olga. Gotcha. Appreciate your input and your updates on what's happening in the STEM world, because this leads in really well to our next presenter, and I'll introduce him in just a moment. But just so you know, we're moving along. We don't have too many presentations until we complete today's agenda. So stay with us if you can, because of course our last presentation is from Jump Arrow. I know a lot of folks would be interested in hearing from that. But our next presenter, it may be a little bit different in your schedule. Jim Ives is going to come aboard. He's very active in the AAMI. I think he's executive vice president. And he's going to present some specific bullet points that he wanted to bring to our attention in the advanced air mobility arena, as well as some information on his background of education. And we've talked in the past a lot about where are all the folks going to be, the human resource assets, the human equation to staff the AAM model. We talked a little bit about pilots and so forth. Yeah, we could probably get those. as kind of a glamour type of position, even though it's expensive for training. But what's critical is where are we going to get the AMPs, the avionic technicians, the electrical engineers and folks, electrical technicians to handle and support all the infrastructure for AAM. So I think he may be ready to commence and start his presentation.
I am.
There he is. There's Jim. So without any further ado, take it away, sir.
All righty. I'm just going to quickly jump into this. My name's Jim Ives. I've been involved in aviation for probably the last 35 years or so. I'm an aircraft mechanic, licensed aircraft inspector, commercial pilot, 107 pilot, and I've been doing this for a while. I serve on the board of directors and just absolutely love this space. So I really want to key on what Dave just told us from noon. I think that's such a massive effort, and I think it's so appropriate for this industry. What we have right now, when I look at the numbers coming out of Boeing and looking at the estimated shortfalls of technicians, when we look at 2028, Boeing is estimating that we're about 25,000 as certified mechanics short of what we actually need to maintain our current fleets within the U.S. Worldwide, when they're talking about the next 20 years, I should say, out to 2042, somewhere in that range, we're looking at over 700,000 certified mechanics that we need in the industry, just due to attrition, retirements, all those types of things. So it's a definite struggle, and the entire industry right now is behind the curve when it comes to training aircraft technicians for the AAM side of the world. So, I think it's paramount that we really get into this deeply. I'm so happy to hear what Dave is working on and Noun is working on. It's critical. When we look at the breakdown of student body within these training schools right now, we got diverse cultural and educational backgrounds, everything from engineering to high school. The folks are career focused. There's a lot of interest in what's coming up in next gen, and they're asking questions, but they don't know where to get the information. And Dave's filling that role for sure, getting in there early. Our veterans coming out of service. Believe it or not, there is over 22,000 service members coming out of the, that have some sort of background in aerospace. And they are, that's per year. And only about 1,500 of those 22,000 service members with aviation maintenance background actually get into the aviation schools to get their maintenance licenses. So we've got students who are interested in the trades versus college degree. That's certainly trending right now. So really what am I proposing here is that we need to ensure that students graduate with conventional and next gen skills. So it really is just building upon what do we have out there in the Part 147 curriculum in the US, and we need to build those tools together. It's awesome in the fact that our current training also has strong electrical foundations built into it. And that's great because AAM is really an extension and building upon those existing electrical training programs. It's going to have to be outside of what the FAA is currently doing in this environment, because it doesn't cover motor controllers, motors, the electric gearboxes, all those types of things that are out there. Fuel cells. I've worked on. I was part of certifying the world's first hydrogen fuel cell powered full scale hexacopter. So within that system, we had to bring technicians in who'd never seen this stuff before and take time to spool them up. So when we're looking at this, it costs the industry thousands and thousands of dollars to do an on-site, on-premises, on-the-job training. and it takes forever to get it done. So you're looking at 6-9 months before you've got a technician who walks through the door with an A&P license and is able to move forward and become proficient with being able to build those systems and maintain them. So, why do we need to do this? Well, we got industry demand for it. We see the OEM starting to get ready. They're on the precipice of getting type certified. We've got worldwide navigation systems and air traffic management systems that are getting ready to allow these aircraft into the mainstream architecture. And I'm expecting that to show up 2027, 2028 timeframe. And it also, by training this into our programs for maintenance technicians, that's the backbone of what makes this type of aircraft move. We can have all the pilots, we can have all the OEMs we want, but if we don't have maintainers on the ground taking care of those aircraft, making sure that they're ready for the next flight, we're gonna be slowed down. So we want to be able to future-proof that the industry in itself by getting over that shortfall as quickly as we possibly can. So employers, like I said, OJT, 6 to 9 months, thousands of dollars. And a student who's doing that, or an A&P who goes back to school to reskill and upskill, we've got competitive edge built in there. We've got competitive training for conventional and AAM. And the other side to this really is when we start to talk about the dignity of it all. The dignity, when I'm speaking of that, I'm talking about the dignity of making sure that everybody has an opportunity to go in and train. Doesn't matter what culture, what background, all of that type of stuff. So it's very important from how the basics of what AAMI is about the dignity of the people that are involved. So I think it's really critical that we get into that. Something else I'd just like to touch on really quickly, is just mainly if we can come up with a system that allows us to build a training curriculum and help the FAA and help other regulatory agencies adopt that and make changes so that we can quickly move into updating the current regulations, no matter where in the world it is that these aircraft technicians are being certified, so that we can build that into the system and work collaboratively with the regulatory agency so that it's absorbed and disseminated to the students quickly. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I just wanted to cover those specific points. And thank you so much. It's such a pleasure and such an honor to be a part of the Advanced Air Mobility Institute. Dave, thank you for your reaching out to the students early and getting them interested in this stuff. I think that is so critical. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Keith.
Hi. So thank you so much for the presentation. I do have to make a quick interjection here because our next presenter, unfortunately, has to cut the queue a little bit because he has a time commitment. So we're going to go straight to Carl with his presentation. And the floor is yours, Carl. Thank you for your message.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity and the rejuggling of the schedule. I'm gonna share my screen here. So as was mentioned, my name is Carl Dietrich. I'm the founder and CEO of Jump Aero. Jump Aero is developing an EVTOL specifically for rapid response missions to help first responders get to the scene of rural emergencies as fast as possible. It turns out that, and I'm going to be presenting data that's mostly from the United States because that's where we have the access to the best specific data. But in the United States, the average emergency response time in rural areas is about 14.5 minutes. It's about twice as long as what it is in urban or suburban areas. And that 7-minute difference, it doesn't sound like very much, but it can have a huge impact on patient outcomes. For example, in a case of cardiac arrest or pulmonary issues, stroke, severe trauma, car crashes, things like that, if oxygenated blood stops getting to your brain, you're on the clock. And within the first few minutes, you're going to lose consciousness. If you can get oxygen restored to your brain within the first 7 to 10 minutes, you've got a shot. Beyond 10 minutes, we're talking about coma, brain damage, and by the time you're out at 15 minutes, survival is nearly impossible. So what we have right now in the United States, in arguably a first world country, we have a situation where the average response time in rural areas is one where you're going to die if you have a cardiac arrest and you don't have somebody there who knows what they're doing and can reestablish the flow of oxygen to your brain. With EVTOL technology, we can change that. We can bring emergency response times on par to what we have in cities. And that's the opportunity that we saw at Jump Arrow back in 2019 when we got the company, when we founded the company, is this opportunity to shave just a few very critical minutes off of rural response times and help save a lot of lives. The data is pretty astounding when you dig into it. These are just 4 time-critical emergency cases: stroke, heart disease, respiratory failure, and then just severe trauma or injury. In these cases, and these data compare percent deaths preventable for rural areas and then in metropolitan areas. So, and you can see across the board for all of these cases, you've got double-digit percentage differences in percent preventable deaths for all of these time-critical emergencies across the board between rural and metropolitan areas. So just that difference from 14 and a half minutes down to about 7 minutes response time means a huge, huge number of lives saved. In fact, we've dug into the numbers and we've made some estimates. And we believe that just in the US, we're talking about 67,000 lives per year. If we look globally, because there is so much of a larger rural population across the world, particularly in developing nations, there's the opportunity to save on the order of 3 million lives every year just by getting this EVTOL technology out across the globe in this first response capacity. So that is the founding mission of Jump Arrow, is to try to leverage EVTOL technology to get out and save lives. To do that, we've developed a specific aircraft that meets the requirements of first responders and the need to fly very quickly, deploy quickly, fly quickly, and land close to the emergency with life-saving equipment. So this is the JA-1 Pulse EVTOL aircraft. It is different from basically any other EVTOL that you'll see out there for a variety of reasons. One, you notice it's a standing tail sitter vehicle, so it doesn't have any tilting pods. The whole aircraft tilts over to fly very, very quickly. It has a very low frontal area, enabling high dash speeds, while at the same time not adding the complexity of tilting pods and things of that nature. The vehicle is designed to fly at speeds up to 250 knots, so significantly faster than EVTOLs that are optimized for air taxi missions. It turns out if you want to optimize a vehicle for an air taxi mission, you actually want to fly a little bit slower to conserve energy, reduce your power demand. In this application, because every minute is so critical, it makes sense to invest in a faster EVTOL aircraft. And so we are right up against the speed limit under 10,000 feet, right at 250 knots, which it turns out is also the maximum speed that is allowed under the newly published Modernization of Special Airworthiness Certificates, the Mosaic light sport aircraft rulemaking. So that rule just went live last week. It's incredibly exciting news. And Jump Arrow's JA-1 Pulse EVTOL is designed to be fully Mosaic compliant. So in the United States, will be classified as a light sport aircraft. What that means is that we will meet international industry consensus standards, ASTM standards, that the FAA accepts as being reasonable means of compliance to the new Federal Aviation Regulation Part 22. And those standards are being written by the ASTM committees, Committee F-37 in particular, of which Jump Arrow is a member. We are very active in helping form those standards that are based off of the standards that the FAA is already accepting for certified EVTOL aircraft. So it's a robust framework. It doesn't reduce the requirements, the engineering requirements on these aircraft, but it does provide a compliance pathway that is more akin to light sport aircraft as opposed to traditional, or what we're calling traditional now, 2117B special certification project or special type certification project. So under this new construct, the JA1 Pulse will not have a type certificate per se. It will get an airworthiness certificate that is an SLSA airworthiness certificate akin to other special light sport aircraft that are in the field today. So why does this speed matter so much? Well, it turns out when you look at this particular use case, the economics of the business model are driven by how many people can you cover in the time-critical 8-minute response window with one aircraft and a team of 2 people on duty. And that drives you to a dash-optimized design. With the JA1 Pulse, our 250 knot dash speed enables us to cover about 3,000 square miles with one aircraft and a 2-person team. And that 3,000 square mile coverage area can afford you a very low average population density to have an economically viable operation. So it's a big, big difference. If you try to take an aircraft that is not specifically designed for this mission, not specifically designed for the high dash speed, much slower speed, your radius is much smaller, and as a consequence, the number of people that you can cover with one aircraft is much smaller. So this vehicle is really the only vehicle that was designed from the ground up for this particular mission, optimizing for this, how many people can you get to in 8 minutes? Key figure of merit. So we went out and we surveyed over 500 rural Americans, and it turns out if you live in a rural community, you know that it's going to take a long time to get help if you need it, if you call for help. And so we asked them what they would be willing to pay on top of what the taxes that they already pay today to have this new type of service available. And it turns out, there's about 21% that are not interested, but a full 79% of those surveyed are willing to pay something extra. And 33% are willing to pay more than $2 a day. 55% are willing to pay more than $1 a day. So what that represents in that $1 to $2 a day is a $13 billion a year greenfield market opportunity for a subscription service to get this technology out there as quickly as possible. And that's what you need, is you need the economic motivator to get it out there to prove that this can be a life-saving technology and get it out as fast as possible. In other words, we leverage the capitalistic forces to get that technology out there because there's money to be made. And then once people see that, oh yeah, this really works, then it's very likely that, since we've got 79% of the population that are willing to pay something for it, that we will be able to, in the long run, this will be a taxpayer subsidized service that will just be available to everyone. But in the near term, you've got a great motivator because there's tremendous money to be made in the space. So our launch customer is Falk. This is one of the largest global emergency response companies in the world. They operate out of 24 countries, including the United States. They do over 9 million EMS operations every year. and they've already reserved a number of aircraft and plan on deploying them in targeted locations around the world, starting in the United States. Beyond that, we have MOUs in place at both the state level, the county level, and with tribal governments to deploy this technology in trial operations and show, we'll learn together what the actual real world operating costs of the aircraft are. And we plan on just publishing that information freely so that everybody can make informed decisions about how to best deploy the technology. So where are we today? We've been flying subscale drones for the past 5 years. We now are flying what we call dynamically scaled models, so real true subscale aircraft of our full-scale aircraft that are flown on the same flight computer as will be flown on the full-scale aircraft. And our full-scale prototype, our first full-scale prototype, is under construction, partially subsidized by an Air Force contract. That full-scale aircraft, we have all the parts for the inner pods, the outer pods built. We have all the tooling made for the upper wing. The lower wing tooling is under construction, and the fuselage tooling is going to start within the next couple months here. So it's a very exciting time. By this time next year, we expect to have a full-scale prototype starting to get ready for its first bunny hop. So extremely exciting time at Jump Arrow. This year, we actually already completed our first dynamically scaled transition of our subscale aircraft using the same flight control laws that we'll be using on the first full-scale aircraft. We're targeting a first flight of that full-scale proof of concept next year, and then hopefully moving into piloted flights in the 2027 timeframe, with the goal of deploying this aircraft in these trial operations as soon as possible in 2028, and ideally saving our first life around that time. So that's our goal at Jump Arrow, is to get to our first life saved milestone as quickly as possible, and then expand production and get this product all around the world as quickly as we can to start saving lives. So with that, I'll wrap up my presentation, and really appreciate your time and your interest, and the Advanced Air Mobility Institute here for providing a forum from which to share our message about the opportunity to leverage EVTOL technology to help save lives all around the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl, for that. I really believe in a past life I work in the healthcare industry, and I know Carl will second this. In this country, in the United States, there's more and more folks that live in a rural area, semi-rural area, that they're finding that hospitals are closing, community hospitals are closing. Access to specialty care, even primary care. Some folks have to drive an hour plus just to get to family medicine or internal medicine. And the closings of and consolidations of hospitals will require, when critical care is needed, whatever it may be, rotary wing or advanced air mobility, the ability to reach further to get to these individuals and transport them as quickly as possible to level 1 trauma centers that can take care of that. And that may be a longer distance than people had anticipated. So the EMS applications for advanced air mobility are clearly wide open. And I think that in the United States, we see that for sure. So I really appreciate your insights in that and Jump Arrow, and how things are developing with that. We'll keep an eye on it. Appreciate it very much. We're getting close to wrap here. We have 3 more presentations from Tunisia, Spain, and Bangladesh, and then I'll wrap in a few comments. But I'd like you to stick around for the last 3. So without any kind of further delay, I have with us, just make sure I've got the right name, from Tunisia. Bear with me one sec. He knows who it is.
Yes, it's Mejdi.
I'm going to say Mejdi.
Mejdi, yes. Yes, Mejdi, it's okay.
You're good to go, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, if you hear me like this, I think.
Audio is good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hello everybody. I'm Majdi Said from Tunisia. Today I will present some update. There is no big update in advanced air mobility in Tunisia until now since the last presentation in January. For industry milestones, we have like the other presentation, since 2018, we have the first launch of a drone project was with the collaboration of Busan Technopark from Korea. In 2021, Tunisian civil aviation started to introduce initial drones regulation, which until now it's just blueprint. If you hear me, it's okay, I think. Yes.
Audio is good.
Okay. So as I said now, in 2021, it's still a blueprint, which it's the big issues here we have that's in drone regulation. In 2023, we have some company, Tunisian company, we developed our first local and designed and manufactured UAV, especially for the surveillance. We use it for in the forest. We have forest for the fire detection, and we have some pipeline survey. And now with the civil authority, we are working to launch our first ATM pilot project. This project will be in restricted volume until now, with some company who will manage the ATM with their software. For the public statement, we did some statistic with the company. We are specialized in statistic. So for the first concern in use of drones here, that's the privacy, safety and security, which still until now the main concern for the drone technology. We make another statistic which from tranche of ages in urban area and rural area. So the main tranche of ages which are between 2018 and 35, who are very concerned with drone exploitation. So mostly the Tunisians show growing acceptance of drones technology. Approximately 62% viewing it's positively for economic development, and we still working on that. For the future upcoming events, so we have some great events here in Tunisia, especially for we are preparing aerospace meeting in Tunisia, which with some company like Telnet, it's concerned with the low orbit and the drone exploitation. We have also Tunisian Drone Summit with its annual gathering. So until now, it's still like initiation from drone exploitation in Tunisia. And our main concern here with our civil authority, that's the ATM implementation workshop. We are working on it for September. This is all what we have here in Tunisia. So for Tunisia, it's a promising potential for advancing air mobility. we're still working for exploitation and use of this drones in Tunisia. We have greatly a lot of opportunities, especially in the Sahara with the pipeline survey and the forest fire detection. So it's still also the main challenge. That's the regulation are working on it until now. We started our regulation in 2021, but they still a blueprint, and it's remain really a critical barrier. And we need for a clear framework and modernization. For our startup also and laboratory, we are working for the AI-based separation management new space, especially for level 4. We are working a lot of research that we are working on it. We have also a company that's now we have a lot of other company in they working in Middle East now. That's a global urban air mobility, working to get some offer to implement the UTM in this area. Now I think that's in the Middle East. That's all for Tunisia. Thank you. And if you need to contact me or anything, that's it for us.
Hey, Majdi, thanks a lot for the update from Tunisia. I am just working with our behind-the-scenes guru to make sure that we have our next presentation, who that may be. We have a few left. We do have Bangladesh. We've got Spain from Luis Lira, but there may be one more. Yeah, we have Colombia that we skipped over a little bit. Colombia is going to be on board. They're going to present. And that is Paula Valendia. So Paula, if you're there, take it away and let's hear what's going on from Colombia.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for giving me this time to talk about what we've been doing for Colombia. Keith, are you seeing my screen right now?
I see your screen and your audio is good. I do see a different name up there, but I believe that we're talking to Paula.
Yeah, this is Paula.
Gotcha.
But can you see my screen that I'm sharing with you with
yes, I can
my
see
presentation?
I can see your screen. I haven't seen your presentation yet, but your audio sounds superb. So whenever you're ready to put up on the screen, we probably can see that.
Okay, give me just a second, please. Okay, is it there?
There you go.
Okay, thank you. So we're in the south of America, and Colombia's been working on several things to make sure that we are ready to have advanced air mobility on our space. So for that, I wanted to let you know that Colombia is a country within 53 million people on their population, and that our regulatory body is based on the AeroCivil, which is our aeronautical officer from the government. And they've been working for the past at least 10 years to make sure that we have everything on base to let the public know what we need to have ready to get these new aircrafts on our space. So by saying that, we find that the challenges that we have as a country are, of course, financial planning and funding, public acceptance, and some geopolitics things that we need to figure out how to work with in order to bring all those companies to show their aircrafts here in our country. For achievements so far, the government regulation for unmanned aviation have been growing so fast in the past 5 years. We also have established a drone delivery test zone drones, which are very important. And I'm very happy to tell you that in the past month, we have already have the first company certified as drone delivery here in Colombia, which opens up a new opportunities for a lot of companies that would like to have these kind of services going on with their within their industries. Also, EHAN as a company considered our country to start sales and promos, and we also have one EHAN 260 here in Medellin where I live, and we've been seeing this aircraft, and of course the regulation is not already set up, but the option that, or the opportunity that one company as EHAN see as a country that they might consider using these aircraft, even though for tourism or for medical issues, it's great for us. In the past 5 to 2 years ago, more than 5,000 pilots for US have become registered in our local database, which is very huge increasement on the information that we have from the past 2 years. Saying that, I wanted to let you know why Colombia is now working very hard on UAM as urban air mobility. These are the highlights that we have, that we figure out that we need to work with, and that's why we need to bring to the public the information as soon as possible. So saying that, one of the things that we have most here is that we have things of traffic congestions, and new advanced air mobility will bring that a new opportunity to have develop of giving up on that process, and giving the opportunity to have new environmental and noise pollution, bringing down those statistics. On the other hand, how is the UAM process held in Colombia? Well, like I said, 10 years ago, we started a process with regulatory documentations, and the local aviation office has been working on several regulations. So far, we have been working very hard on close to the FAA, also working with the EASA to let them know that we are on the setup of everything. So companies can see Colombia as a platform to develop their own aircrafts here, and to let know that people are very well known of these new kind of technologies. Also, the government set up a space that we love to call City of Innovation, which is Medellin, and that's the starting point to give people the information and see how the public reacts to advanced air mobility. So there's a project where people can come to Medellin and start looking for financial, legal, and everything that they need orientation about for advanced air mobility. We have the visit last month of Dan Sloat from the Advanced Air Mobility Institute. He was able to see what the city can also offer to not only to the institute, but to everyone who wants to come and visit us, and also to understand and let the people know that Medellin is a city that might want you to have on a spot if you want to develop any project for advanced air mobility. So for the last events that we have, as I said, we have the effort but last 2 weeks ago, and it was a huge event. Over 36,000 people attended. There was a great opportunity to see not only regular aviation, but the new aviation that we wanted to talk about. And for the upcoming events, we will have, we're working very hard to have the Advanced Air Mobility Forum hosted by local universities, and also a virtual forum from the USCO, which is a local cluster for advanced air mobility aviation. And in 2027, again, we will have the effort and F-Drone trade show. Saying that, you're very welcome to come to Colombia, and you can contact me on LinkedIn and by the liaison list here in Advanced Air Mobility Institute. Thank you.
Paula, thank you very much. Appreciate your updates on what's happening in Colombia, and you're very receptive to folks to come down and see all the advances that's being made down there. Appreciate it for your time. All right, we got 2 more presentations left, and then I'll wrap for today. So if you could hang in there, we have our presentation from Spain first here, and then after that we'll have, last but not least, from Bangladesh. So Spain, and Luis, you are on.
Yes, so this next presentation is from Spain. Just want to give everyone a heads up. It is artificial intelligence.
Oh, noted. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege to address you today, from Spain, at this summer gathering of the Air Mobility Institute, where professionals, innovators and decision-makers from every corner of the globe come together to imagine and build the future of advanced air mobility. I am Luis Lira, aeronautical engineer, CEO of Ovantia and director of Negocio Aeroespacial. Over the next few minutes I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore how Spain is becoming a real-life laboratory for the next generation of aviation, and why what is happening here matters to the entire world. The first half of 2025 has been a turning point for our country. For years, we have talked about urban air mobility, about drones and air taxis as something belonging to the future. But in these last 6 months, those concepts have moved from PowerPoint slides to the real sky. Across Spain, more than 100,000 registered drone operators are now taking part in a coordinated ecosystem, applying new technologies to solve practical problems in transport, logistics, inspection and emergency response. Let me start with logistics and infrastructure. Autonomous drones are now performing systematic inspections of thousands of kilometers of high-voltage power lines, oil pipelines, and railway tracks. These aircraft carry high-resolution cameras, thermal sensors and LiDAR, generating digital twins that allow engineers to detect anomalies without a single person leaving the ground. This is faster, safer and dramatically reduces CO2 emissions compared to traditional helicopter operations. Then came the demonstration that truly captured the world's attention. In February, on the coast of Benidorm, for the very first time in Europe, an electric air taxi took off and flew over an urban environment, fully integrated with a fleet of drones operating simultaneously. This was not a simulation. It was a glimpse of how our skies could look in the coming years. Aircraft, large and small, working together, coordinated through digital platforms, without conflict, without noise, and with zero emissions. In May, another historic milestone took place in La Gomera, in the Canary Islands. The first drone flight in Spain for transporting urgent medical samples successfully connected San Sebastián and Playa Santiago in just 10 minutes, far shorter than the 40 to 50 minutes by road, and carried refrigerated samples with zero emissions. This pilot project establishes La Gomera as the first Spanish territory to demonstrate medical drone logistics, cutting emissions and paving the way for future routes between islands and remote areas. This demonstration was not isolated. It was part of a broader roadmap that began in January with the publication of Spain's white paper on vertiports. This document lays out how cities will prepare for the infrastructure of the future. Networks of small landing pads and vertical ports in places such as Madrid, Saragossa, Lugo, and Jaén. For the first time, local authorities, national regulators and the private sector are working from the same blueprint to ensure these new systems fit seamlessly into our cities. And of course, no innovation can fly without a strong regulatory framework. That is why the entry into force of Royal Decree 517/2024 has been such an important milestone. This regulation brings the U-Space concept to life, establishing digital corridors in the sky where drones and, very soon, electric air taxis will operate safely. It introduces the concept of real-time authorizations, electronic identification of aircraft, and service providers that manage the flow of traffic in our low-level airspace. For the first time, Spain has a unified digital airspace that anticipates the mobility of the future. Behind these regulations there is another essential piece: people. Recognizing this, Andalusia has launched a training program to prepare more than 2,600 specialized technicians in new aerial systems, avionics, safety management and maintenance. These young professionals will be the backbone of this new era. The first half of the year has also been marked by events that brought the community together. In Madrid, the Drone City Connect Forum created a space to share use cases and experiences from all over Europe. The UWelcome Open Day in Benidorm, as I mentioned before, showed for the first time how drones and air taxis can coexist. And in June, I Am Spain 2025 transformed Ocaña and Madrid into the heart of European advanced mobility, with 2 days of live demonstrations, conferences and an unforgettable nighttime drone pyro show that lit up the sky. These events are not just exhibitions. They are test beds where authorities, engineers, universities and companies align strategies, test procedures and share lessons learned. Also worth mentioning is a significant academic and educational development in Spain: the launch of a new Master in Advanced Air Mobility program by ITI Area in collaboration with the Advanced Air Mobility Institute. This executive program provides deep training on WAM, EVTOLs, vertiport infrastructure, regulations and market models, preparing professionals to lead in this fast-growing sector. Now Spain's autonomous region of the Canary Islands has taken another leap forward. In May, the regional government launched the Canary Islands Aerospace Strategy, a coordinated public-private framework to attract aerospace companies, diversify the economy and position the archipelago as a key aerospace hub in the Atlantic. With its excellent climate, geographic position, research infrastructure and strong fiscal incentives, the islands aim to become a strategic node in European air mobility innovation. What comes next is even more exciting. During the second half of 2025 we will see the first vertiport platforms completed and certified for real operations. We will see the preparation for demonstration flights by IANA, connecting Malaga with Granada and Majorca with Menorca using fully electric aircraft. We will see the expansion of U-Space services, allowing automated flights to be scheduled, authorized and monitored in real time from a digital platform. Thanks to the new European regulations introduced this summer by ESA, called the IAM framework, these aircraft will now operate under a common standard across the continent. And at the end of the year, the second Aerospace Congress of the Canary Islands will bring together international experts to explore the role of islands as strategic hubs for the deployment of air mobility services. This Congress will also present the first projects that are emerging from the new Canary Islands aerospace strategy. This wave of innovation translates into real opportunities. We are talking about new business models for logistics and rapid transport, emergency services that can reach a crisis area in minutes, sustainable connections between cities and islands that reduce travel times from hours to minutes, and vertiports that will one day be as familiar as today's train stations. Projects such as the medical drone delivery network that began in La Gomera will scale to other parts of the country, allowing critical samples and medicines to be delivered quickly, safely and with zero emissions. Another important step will be the strengthening of talent. Along with initiatives like the Andalusian Technical Training Program, the launch of the Master in Advanced Air Mobility will begin forming executives and specialists with a global vision. This new generation of professionals will be essential to design, regulate, and manage air mobility systems in Spain and in Europe. Behind every drone and every electric flight there are people, pilots learning new skills, multidisciplinary teams and research centers, entrepreneurs taking risks, and public authorities committed to creating the safe environment this transformation requires. Advanced air mobility is not just about technology. It is about collaboration, vision and talent. 2025 is the year in which Spain opens its skies to the future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I invite all of you, wherever you come from, to continue working together, building bridges between continents and creating this new way of connecting people, cities and opportunities. The future is already in the air. For more insights and updates, I invite you to visit negocioaeroespacial.com, follow us on LinkedIn at Negocio Aeroespacial, and if you wish to connect and continue this conversation, you can find me on LinkedIn as It's Business Development.
Okay. AI generated, gets to the point, quick and easy. Thank you from Spain for that presentation. And with that, we have one remaining presentation, last but not least. This is pre-recorded. I don't think it's AI generated. I don't know, but it's from Bangladesh. So listen in, and after that, I'll wrap, and I'll have a couple of website URLs for you to look at. You probably have them already, but if you don't, it'll help you maybe for some connections and so forth, latest information. So let's go with Bangladesh.
Hello everyone, I am Ashikujaman Sadiq, currently studying BSc 4th year in Aerospace Engineering at
Give me just a second. I think I know what the problem is.
While you're troubleshooting, again, the AAMI website is aamiinstitute.org. I'm sure everyone has been on that or may have seen it before, but if you haven't, that's kind of your portal to find all the information you need. Information on the race, today's event, which, by the way, tomorrow is the last day if you're available. Listen in. A lot of great information from more countries, several special presentations. Good stuff. So hope to see you tomorrow. But like I said, hopefully we'll be able to get this last presentation in of a few closing remarks, and then we could adjourn for the day. And I'll put the website on the chat for the Institute. And they're always looking for folks to view the website, look at the website, there's opportunities there as well.
I think I solved the problem. I'll try it again.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present the recent advancement in advanced air mobility or the unmanned aerial system in my country. You know that Bangladesh is a developing country with approximately 146 million people. Its aerospace sector is in a developing phase. Also, the advancement of advanced air mobility is in early stage, but Bangladesh has taken some significant steps to develop unmanned aerial system. Among them, Bangladesh has bought 12 Turkish Bayraktar TB2. The Bangladesh Army has operationalized 6 out of 12 TB2 drones in 2024, with the remaining expected to be delivered later this year. Bangladesh Coast Guard has received surveillance drone from Australia in June 2025, and Australia is providing technical assistance to bolster the Coast Guard's effort in combating transnational crimes such as human trafficking, drug smuggling, and illegal fishing. The Bangladesh Army has produced 36 BrahMos C4I UAVs from Slovenia. This BrahMos C4I is a portable tactical unmanned aerial system that delivers real-time intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and support to the ground commanders. Bangladesh Air Force has showcased their newly built KX2 drones on April 2025. KX2 drone is the first indigenously developed tactical unmanned aerial vehicles. It was developed collaboratively by the Bangladesh Air Force, local defense engineers, and military research unit, and the private tech innovators. For the first time, Bangladesh will produce commercial drones locally and will be ready to export them, as well as a company named Skybees Limited is leading this initiative and planning to establish a factory in Bebja Economic Zone in Chittagong. The company aims to invest $46 million to produce unmanned aerial vehicles. This will commonly used for various commercial and service purposes. They are targeting to export of $169 million worth of drones annually. Skybees plans to manufacture 10 different models of UAVs, primarily designed for non-military usage, such as firefighting, cinematography, mapping, and agriculture. Drone Regulation 2024. The Ministry of Civil Aviation and Tourism has produced a comprehensive set of drone regulations aimed at strengthening control over the operation, import, and usage of drones in Bangladesh. This Drones Regulation 2024 introduced a stringent framework requiring operators to secure license from the Civil Aviation Authority of Bangladesh for most type of drones except for toy drones. This regulation divides the airspace into 3 distinct zones. They are green zones, yellow zones, and red zones. Green zones are mainly for toy drones that can be flown without prior approval up to 60 meters. Yellow zones are the areas where near the airport, densely populated regions, and public gatherings. There needed a permission from Civil Aviation Authority to fly drones. Red zones, these are strictly restricted areas, mainly military base, sensitive government installation, uh, and border areas. In this zone, they are required a authorization of cap and also security clearance from the security agencies. Thank you everyone for listening this presentation. Hello.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, that kind of wraps today. But before you go, I just wanted to throw a couple of thoughts that I had my way. First of all, I want to thank AAMI. I'm a senior advisor of the AAMI, but I want to thank Henry and Gary for keeping me on track. And hopefully it was fairly seamless and you have some value add from today's attendance. Tomorrow is the last day. I hope you could attend. Olga Davies will be the moderator, and maybe her name will be correct up there and everyone will know who that is. But she will be moderating tomorrow's events, some really good presentations. Tomorrow, again, I thanked Henry and Gary. Recapping, a couple things that I took away. STEM education. If you don't have the people, I mean, AI is one thing, but if you don't have the individuals to work and to service and to support this advanced air mobility, I don't know what you're gonna what can be done. You know, you have to have that. Even if you're flying autonomously, you have to have people to fix and take care of the autonomous vehicles that are flying. That's one thing I took away. EMS potential, yes, without a question of a doubt, all across the globe. Like I said, I know people in the United States that have to drive an hour plus to get to a primary care doctor. Their community hospital is closed. It would take them 3 hours to get to a hospital with the level 1 trauma center. Who's going to take care of that? New regulations, LSA, Mosaic. Yep, that's great stuff for us. It benefits folks across the board. Even Joby acknowledged that. Public awareness. Yep, you have to have the public buy-in. If you do not have public acceptance, this will not work. Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, seems like the public acceptance rate is really, really high. And again, if you build it, they may not come, they may come, but you have to have the public's, because perception is reality. It's totally in reality. Natural disasters, Pakistan. Yeah, you need to have AAM. That's a great adjunct to help with geographic areas where it's hard to get in, hard to get out. I live in North Carolina. Hurricane Helene, shout out to all the drone responders out there that did amazing work out in the flood areas. I was actually out there when the hurricane occurred, and far worse than I ever thought. So AAM, yes, huge potential out there. Now, rotary wing versus EVTOL, powered lift, there's a lot of debate about that, but
Thank you for watching. I'm ending it short. I gotta go, and it's over, so, all right.